Hey, everybody. Normally there's a countdown, but there's not tonight. We're coming in hot. We knew we'd be right here before the draft. Brandon James joining me. Robbie Davis will be along in a minute. Mehta will be on soon after that. It's a reunion of the family here. Me from River City. These guys have been doing big things with their own network. Reckless Speculation. But I'm starting with Bijan because there's a big rumor going around right now about the Titans. Brandon, what have you got so far with that?
Yeah, so let me actually get the exact credit on here.
Robbie Davis joined us. Hey, Robbie.
Oh, there he is.
Hey,
Got the breaking rumor about the number 3 pick and Travis Henry or Derrick Henry possibly going to Arizona.
yeah, I mean it's. I guess the Titans are kind of coming of age in the future of abandoning what has been their staple of running the football and hard nose, smash mouth, and getting into more of a passing offense. It would appear now. I'm not going to say I like this or I don't like it until I see the third pick of the draft.
All right, Brandon, you got the exact credits. Let's go with it.
Yeah, so according to Mike Florio, the Cardinals are working on a trade with DeAndre Hopkins and the 3rd overall pick for the Titans' 11th pick and more. So they don't really discuss Henry potentially there, but I have heard rumors of that,
So
him being dealt.
Heard B-Chain. I heard it would be 2 number 1s, Henry, the 3rd pick coming back with Hopkins. That's the pure rumor.
Yeah. So I heard earlier today before this kind of arose was it would be a second round, like swap picks this first round, a second round this year, and a potential second round next year. Now, a player caveat that throws a little wrench in the system. So it could be 2 first rounds, but if that's their guy and CJ's there and that's their dude, I mean, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I've been calling him Marcus Stroud all day. Robbie, all right, if Henry's out and they are starting with the Titans with Brand, if they're going, okay, Henry's out, Tannehill's out, we're going to start with a franchise quarterback. You got a rookie receiver from last year. If they can somehow cut into that Trey Lance deal, which is the 3 first anyway, for a franchise rebuilding, that's huge.
Yeah, I think so. The problem that I have is, Trey Lance, they missed on him, and that's 3 first round picks that they blew on that. Now, San Francisco was already good. The fear is though, if you're not good and you miss with 3 first round picks, then you're in the cellar for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Titans don't have the Niners talent by any stretch of imagination. So, like I said, I'm okay with CJ Stroud. And you will hear the emotion if it's not him about what happens. Because I mean, these are big moves. This is what we've been asking the Titans to do.
Absolutely.
I love Derrick Henry. I do. And he's been great in Tennessee. But I mean, Brandon and I've talked about this before. Like, we're not built to win right now. And so you got to blow it up. And if this is how you blow it up, then blow it up, but get it right.
Yeah. Well, Henry's one of the only pieces we have of value. In order to make a move like this, you've got to get rid of some of your, capital there. And really that's probably all that anybody would want from the Titans would be Derrick Henry. So, I mean, he's the only, I can see Kevin Byard as well. He's been rumored to potentially be traded, but I mean, if that's your guy and that they love him, like you, Robbie, I hope to God we don't miss on this if we do. But the fact that they're trying it instead of just playing conservative too, I like this new regime. If it were to happen, so there's a lot that could still happen. I mean, who knows? The Texans could surprise everybody and take CJ. Then I think it's off the table.
And so that's what I thought. I think that's kind of a wild card. I think if the Titans are doing this, I think CJ's people, if CJ's the guy or whoever the guy is, his agent has told them he's not going to Houston because you don't make this move unless you're sure the quarterback you want,
like an Eli Manning.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, just Houston's not drafting him. Not necessarily like. I think they're saying, look, we've been told Houston's not drafting him. He will be available at 3.
Yeah, that from what all I've heard, within the last week and especially the last day or two, and up until the last couple hours, is Houston is not taking a quarterback. So,
if you'll notice, we have got now below. It's not the former Georgia defensive tackle Marcus Stroud, but it is CJ Stroud listed as our number 4 player. Also, I just sent the link. We're doing business on there. I just sent the link to Tom. I don't know if anybody told him to join during the Lions pick, but if he'd like to join, that would be excellent. Take care of a little house cleaning. Robbie, I'm going to try to host the first 4 picks. I may ask you to slip in with pick 5, 6, and 7. Then I'll come back with 8 and 9 to host, which is the Falcons. But a lot depends on my voice here. But if you want to take over some hosting, let's try to split it that way. If you can work that with me for a little while.
QB1, if you want to hand it off to me, you can hand it off to me whenever. Call me Derrick Henry of draft night. I'm flexible. I may end up anywhere in this whole thing.
Well, my voice is still not back. As everybody knows, I broke my neck, and my voice is really struggling to come back. So I hope to get through these 4 picks. And hopefully we're going to have Raj joining us here, who's the Raiders fan. Tom join us, hopefully, which is the Lions fan. Yes. We've got a representative here, a couple from the Titans, a couple for the Falcons. But let's start at the top of the board. And, Brandon, it's become obvious that the Panthers are going to go Bryce Young unless the whole world is wrong here in a few minutes and is going to be the first pick. I realized before I go to you, Robbie, do you realize as a Tennessee fan we've seen the top 4 ESPN picks in this draft? Top 4 available: Bryce Young, Will Anderson, Carter, and Levis. So we've seen the best of the best. But let's run to Brandon to start with. To me, it's Bryce Young, not your guy CJ Stroud. What do you think that is about?
Yeah, I think it's Bryce Young. I mean, obviously, athleticism-wise, I think Bryce Young is more athletic. It depends on your system. Maybe the Panthers like the way he fits in the system better for them. I mean, you've got pros and cons on both sides. Bryce, he's a little smaller. Saw a stat today. His downfield or pressing the ball percentage, his completion ratio pressing the ball down the field is only 30%. So there's, you can poke holes in any of these quarterbacks if you look hard enough. So
very, very true.
I think it's just who your guy is, who you have graded higher. And, obviously a lot of people were Bryce Young, and then, that new S2C test or whatever that came out, it could have, shaked or rattled some people a little bit. So I don't know. You never know what's going on in the war room. So I think it's just studying these players to see who fits in your system best.
Robbie, there was talk early on that the Panthers loved Will Levis. And let me go ahead and say it. And this will be a theme you hear from me throughout this draft. Big games is where I judge players. Bryce Young in Knoxville in the loss we saw it up close. He did things with a football I've never seen. Will Levis in the same environment threw for 98 yards and 3 picks. That to me is a lot.
Yeah, and let me just back up to this testing thing with CJ Stroud. That's the equivalent of not investing in Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg because they dropped out of Harvard. Like, it's the talent you have. Not it doesn't matter if you can do, X, Y, and Z. Can you do what I'm hiring you to do, or what I'm investing you to do? I don't care if you have the best grammar, the worst grammar in the world. Are you good? In my world, are you good in front of a jury? Like that's how I like. In y'all's world, something different. But it's like I don't care what the test says. But yes,
That
Brandon.
grammar not at me, I know. But
no, Randall. To answer your question, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I mean, look, people can have a bad game, and I get that. But man, I rarely saw Levis have a good game, to be honest. Like, he didn't impress me much. Like Richardson, at least at some point, he was a front runner, or at least up there for the Heisman. But yeah, I never thought Levis was that.
You see from our buddy Howie Chaney, of course, the host of It's Real to Me, the story breaking that Young's had no contact with. According to his father, Young's had no contact since early April with the Panthers, which I don't find odd. If you've made your decision,
you're moving on.
Yeah,
you're
You
got the rest of the draft to work on.
Yeah.
Well, and let's not forget that Will Levis didn't cut it at Penn State. He couldn't make the starting team there. So again, if you use that comparison, look at Joe Burrow at Ohio State, then to LSU. So, I mean, you never know, but
Joe Burrow lit it up at LSU.
Joe Burrow lit it up. Levis did not.
Yeah.
And he didn't. You got to look at, a good player, a good quarterback like that's going to elevate people around you. And you just really didn't see any really big
I use an analogy, Jay Cutler. Now, people may say, hey, I wouldn't want Jay Cutler in the NFL. That's fine. But I think Jay Cutler could have been good depending on what team he was on. Or, I mean, he was a good quarterback. But Jay Cutler at Vanderbilt, you could see the talent, and he won some games, kept them in games that they had no business being in.
Yeah.
I'm going to run something from a movie through you, Robbie. I've heard Will Levis compared to the draft day Bo Callahan, where you can't lay your finger on exactly what's wrong, but everybody senses something's wrong.
Right.
Attitude issues have come out about Levis. How much does that affect you in a draft if you do have those little nagging things at you?
Well, I think if you're a GM and you're picking a quarterback in the first round, the first 5, the first 10, your job's tied with him. And so everything starts to bother you. Like,
yes.
I heard Phil Simms talking on, I can't remember what show it was, some XM show, and he said he didn't like the fact that he has tattoos on his arm, or that he takes pictures, with his shirt off, flexing. He's like, Bill Parcells said, I don't want a celebrity quarterback. I want a quarterback who's in the film room. And he said, I don't know if that influences me or not, but that's how I was taught. And so he's like, that stuff bothers me. And that's kind of what you're looking at with this pick. If you're a GM, if you miss your job, if he busts, your job busts.
Yep.
Brandon, I know you didn't see Bryce Young in person, but you did CJ Stroud. I go back to the CJ Stroud game against Georgia, where Hooker struggled against Georgia. Young had some success against Georgia. But this year, CJ Stroud in a big spot really put Ohio State on his back. And if it's not an injury to Marvin Harrison Jr.,
yep,
I think Ohio State wins that game.
Yeah, I agree. I think we were right there neck and neck. Offensively, I thought we outplayed them. There's a couple plays that they got, then losing Harrison Jr. and not having Smith and Jigma hurt. But, we didn't have him for the whole fall pretty much. So we worked around that. But, no, before that game, he had like 7 rushing yards total in the season. I think he had like 35 or 40. Like he was in it to win it. I mean, he really did put the team on his back, and he lit it up on the field, throwing the ball. So that's just the kind of heart that kid has, and it showed well on the big stage. And, that's why we're sitting here right now talking about him.
Yeah, Robbie, y'all, we're figuring this out. We've done it in the past. If somebody wants to ding us for having the draft sound in the background, go ahead, ding us. We're going to do this. This is for fun tonight.
I just want to hear. I just really want to hear like the little beat going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you can hear my sound, let me know.
Okay, I'm going to read something really fast, and this is from ESPN. Best available player: Bryce Young, number 1; Bijan Robinson, number 2, Texas running back; Will Anderson, 3; Tyree Wilson, 4; and Will Anderson, 5. I love Tyree Wilson, and I think that's somebody we might see in the next pick. I really think over Will Anderson, we might be talking about Tyree Wilson going second in this pick or in this draft.
To me, I think Will Anderson's the best player in this draft. He is the edge rusher that you want in the NFL, and the only thing is, if you're Carolina, if you're Houston, if you're talking about the second pick, I just don't know Houston needs an edge rusher because the teams they play against aren't very good. As of right now, you have Trevor Lawrence and then Tannehill for another year, and then we'll see what the Titans do. And to me, if you're the Texans, you're not playing against the Chiefs. You're not playing against the Bills. You're playing against the AFC South right now, trying to win that division. So I don't know. I think maybe I don't know. I don't know how they don't go quarterback here. Davis Mills, not to be confused with Davis Miles or Miles Davis. Davis Mills is not a franchise quarterback, and maybe they don't think anyone in this draft is, or maybe they think maybe second round get Hooker.
Well, they could get Hooker at 12. I mean, they've got
that's true.
So I mean, you grab either an edge rusher or something. They don't have anybody really on defense since J.J. Watt got traded and all that. So if they use that as an anchor piece to start building around, I could definitely see that. And then grab a quarterback or something like a Hooker. Hooker's the 5th rated quarterback in here, and he's probably got a lower floor, but he's got a pretty high upside. I know his age is a knock.
Where would Hooker be rated without the injury? Because in my head, he's the 3rd quarterback in the draft without the injury.
Well, and to add to that, where would Hooker be rated if he played Georgia on a neutral field instead of in Athens?
Yeah. True. No, I think Hooker's got phenomenal talent. I think a lot of people, for some reason, in the NFL are giving him a slight nod. I don't think it's an ACL issue because nowadays ACLs are nothing. It's like
Well, Joe Burrow tore his rookie year, and
that's not a big deal.
I think it's the age.
I think it's the age is the biggest knock on him. That he's 26, and if he has to sit a year or two, but the longevity of quarterbacks now, they don't get hit that much because of the protection laws they have or rules, and say typically you get 10 to 15 years out of a franchise quarterback. Say it did take him a year.
Typically, you get that out of about 5 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's
your guy, like the guy, you know what I mean? But I mean, he could play till he's 37, 39. I mean, Phillip Rivers was 39 and still threw for 4,000 yards.
How many quarterbacks have the Titans had in the last 10 years?
Exactly. So, look, I'm a Hooker fan. I think he would be a very, very big value pick in the draft for someone.
I honestly think he's getting knocked because of the system he played in, and he's the first one to come. He's the first one to come through the system. remember when Alabama quarterbacks were frowned upon because they couldn't win in the pros? Now they win in the pros. So Hooker's getting this kind of treatment like, oh, it's the system. And it's going to be that way until someone proves that it's not the system.
You got to look at Josh Heupel too a little bit from his system from the frame of what have other quarterbacks done. Sam Bradford, great career until he was injured. Baker Mayfield, a failure. We're yet to know about Jordan Love, and these are all quarterbacks that somehow Heupel's tied to. Dylan Gabriel was a great NFL prospect until his injury at UCF. So even as an assistant, the Heupel quarterback has been kind of starstruck with injuries, Sam Bradford being the best of all the group. If Hooker succeeds, it opens doors for Joe Milton and Nico, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, everyone's a college gimmick until it's proven otherwise. That's the way the NFL works. They recycle NFL coaches. They recycle because very few college coaches work in the NFL, and so that's kind of how. I swear by it. If you can't complete around 65% in college, I will never accept you as an NFL quarterback.
Well, I agree with you. The systematic thing. The only quarterback that got drafted higher that was a systematic quarterback was Marcus Mariota, and of course our Titans drafted him. And I knew he was a systematic quarterback, and that I watched the whole almost every playoff game, and then of course against Ohio State in the national championship. And it's like, this dude is not accurate. Like, he's not a good quarterback. And you can see that. That's just an eye test. I mean, we're by no means NFL scouts, but I mean, you can watch the film and see.
Yeah.
So,
and that's where I think Hooker differentiated himself from some of those other system quarterbacks, because he doesn't just throw the bubble screens. He had touch down the field and throw people open, and that's what impressed me. And that's why I think if I'm an NFL team about late round 1, round 2. I take a look at that, because deep field touch is something you can't teach.
For sure. At very worst, I think he could be, top 15 guy, a game manager. If you were to plug someone like him over a Brock Purdy in a system like 49ers, I mean, that's a Super Bowl winning team.
Yeah. Guys, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, the pick is in.
I think Peyton Manning may have the greatest quote about Bryce Young. He's been 5'10" his whole career.
Yeah.
Bryce. Shocker.
Bryce Young.
We all knew that was coming.
Let's go around real quick before we start talking about the Texans. Robbie, give me your impressions of Bryce Young, the player.
Man, you were at the game. I was at the game. I've seen, obviously Bryce Young on TV so many times throughout his career, just where we live. And seeing him in person, though, when we talk about how we just praised Hooker, the level between Young and Hooker, there was separation, man. He was in as hostile an environment as I've ever heard or ever been a part of. It was a who got the ball last. And he was amazing. He was slippery. He was like a running back in the pocket as far as twisting and turning. And now I know it's a whole different game in the NFL, but man, you can't teach instincts. And that guy has instincts, and he can read a defense, and he can process it quickly.
Brendan, again, same question. I know you've not seen him in person, but he's a Heisman winner. He plays at Alabama. Mm-hmm. You've seen a lot of TV games, I'm sure, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I said this other night, too. My biggest concern with him, and, we've seen smaller quarterbacks in the past in the NFL that are shorter. I think he's measured in at 5'10". But he's not built very big. Like, he's not kind of thick. He's very frail looking.
Shocking.
And you think you get a couple 380-pound linemen, chase him down that are running a 5.2. I mean, I worry a little bit about injury on him. Now, yes, he's super athletic. He's super slippery. He doesn't run the ball a lot, which is a plus, but he does scramble and buy some time for his guys. So I hope or wish him all the best. He's a great talent, and I'm sure he'll be great to watch. But I have a slight hesitation on, staying healthy just because of his size.
And Randall, and to put it in perspective, because you're tall and you don't really understand height all that well, to put it in perspective, Bryce Young is my height and 10 pounds lighter than I am, and he's about to go play in the NFL.
Yeah.
They would kill me in a second.
Our boy said the same thing. Everyone's worried about his weight, not his height.
I'm not worried about his 5'10" because we've seen Kyler Murray, Drew Brees, that succeed. But he's just frail looking. Like, you feel like he's a twig. He's going to break his ankle as soon as he gets landed on. So I don't know.
I'm going to give you. I'll give you a quick analogy. I still say the best college quarterback I've ever seen in my life was Tim Tebow.
The Texans pick is in. That was quick.
The Texans are in, so let's move on. Bryce Young, maybe the second best quarterback that I've ever seen. The Texans did not waste any time.
But for two different reasons, Young and Tebow. Tebow was a option type quarterback under Urban Meyer's system. Young was a quarterback.
Absolutely. And made throws with his body that I've never seen anybody made. Earlier in this week, I heard the surest thing about this draft was pick 2 would be whoever wouldn't draft it, pick 1, Young or Stroud. But I have a feeling if the Texans have put their pick in, Brandon, they've known who their guy was for a while then.
I think so. I think they have. And I think, again, the whole world is probably not wrong on this one, just like Bryce Young with all the theory of them not taking a quarterback. So I think it's between the edge rushers, like you said, that seems to be the most popular selection for them. But who knows? I mean, maybe they put all that out there just to throw smoke and they're going to take CJ. Or my favorite thing would happen is if they took like Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. I would and then the Colts take the other one. I mean, you just couldn't get any better in the AFC South there. That'd be fantastic.
Robbie, this for the Titans trading up to 3. By the way, I'm going to predict y'all, and I have a little money on it. Here's your first bet of the night. I have Tyree Wilson at like plus 1,000 going here. So if he does go, Randall's going to put a few dollars in his pocket. If there any truth to the Texans trading to 3, it has to be one of the rush ends. I mean, not the Texans. The Titans trading to 3. It has to be one of the rush ends right here, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I was saying. Like, whoever the Titans want at 3, if they do trade, they have to get assurances that they're not going. The Texans aren't taking them.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's because you're not betting all this, mortgaging all this, and being like, oh well, crap, the person I wanted wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, one quick in your division there. We're about to see the Texans pick. Arizona sets between the Texans and the Colts. If the Colts covet Anthony Richardson or C.J. Stroud so much that they don't want the Cardinals to trade out, could you see a trade up one position so the Colts can get their guy here?
Doubtful. I mean, you've heard speculation of that, but I don't think so. I've heard their guys Will Levis.
C.J. Stroud goes
to
the Texans after all the talk of not taking a quarterback at number 2.
Wow.
C.J. Stroud goes number 2 to the Texans. I am shocked, Robbie, but it makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. I'm
Perfect
just
sense.
shocked because we just hadn't heard that all week long.
No, it's been all the other. Like I said, it could have just been smoke out there. Crazy, man. I was getting ready to buy a Stroud jersey too.
And just think, y'all, that now this is a 6'3", 220-pound quarterback. The Titans the Texans have been very, very quiet to come. I'm as shocked as I ever have been.
I didn't see. I mean, we all knew they need a quarterback, but just from all the reports of all the insiders and the beat writers that know people, this was not on the board at all. So,
well, hopefully this quiets the Titans moving up to 3 talk, because there's no reason.
If we move up to 3 now, I'm going to lose it. Like, there's nobody to move up for.
This is, if they do move up to 3, then the city council better reconvene tonight and revoke that money for the stadium.
Absolutely.
Do you think the Texans were like, okay, we love C.J. Stroud. We're not going to put no smoke on this. We think the Panthers are going to take Bryce Young, but we got to stay quiet. We got to stay quiet here to make this.
Well, I mean, I don't think they had to stay quiet at all. I mean, they knew Panthers. Okay, so what if the Panthers took CJ or then they end up with Bryce Young? Like, I don't think it bothered them. I think they were just messing with a little interdivision rivalry there and throwing up smoke.
Now, Robbie, real quick, we'll go back to C.J. Stroud because I'm shocked. But you are now, we're in Tennessee, and I feel like we need to give Tennessee plenty of coverage on this. You're sitting here in a division with Ryan Tannehill. You have Trevor Lawrence in his 3rd year. You now have C.J. Stroud in his 1st year. There's a pretty good chance, unless somebody jumps up to 3, you're going to have Anthony Richardson in Indy. Does that change the Titans' philosophy now?
Not one bit. I hope the Colts pick Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. I'm hoping for that because I think they're both busts. No, the philosophy changes. The philosophy is now, well, Henry's not being dealt, it doesn't look like. So you run it back one more year, and then or you trade back, try to get some draft capital, and you look at Caleb Williams for next year as being the franchise quarterback next year, and you run it back, and then but I wouldn't mind a trade back.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a trade back, or I think if Skoronski's there or Paris Johnson Jr., one of those 2 guys, I think would be a huge piece on the offensive side that we could use for sure. So,
one question I have is: this a pick and trade?
No, we don't want any quarterbacks left. No.
There's
no quarterbacks are off.
Here's my hope: is we grab an offensive lineman and then we catch Hooker on the 2nd round. Would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm going to throw something at you, and we'll start with you, Robbie, since you're up. If you are the people farther down the line, let's go back to the Falcons. There is 5 elite defenders in this draft. The 2 cornerbacks, the 2 rush ends, and the D tackle from Georgia. And everybody said, so back to 7 now with the Raiders, you're guaranteed of getting one of these elite defensive players. Are we about to have a run on defense after the quarterbacks are done?
Man, there's some good receivers in this draft too. The guy from Ohio State, Flowers. Who am I? The other slot guy.
Got him right here. What is it? Zay Flower, Jordan Addison from USC.
Yeah, Addison. Yeah. You got some players and you got some quarterbacks.
You got
Robinson too. Like, there's some offensive. No, I mean it's an offensive league. I think Will Anderson and Jalen Carter are going to go here pretty soon, but I think it's going to be more offense here in the early rounds.
Oh, there's a lot of need for some offensive tackle too. And you've got Darnell Wright, Broderick Jones
are on the clock again. They have
What?
made a trade with Arizona, according to this, and to what Howie's reporting. I am not looking, but according to Howie, he's able to watch other media sources, and
they're going by Will Anderson then.
to make this trade. Then it's probably Will Anderson.
Nick Saban's on the screen. So.
Yeah, they're going Will Anderson now. They traded their 12.
Trade alert. The Cardinals have traded picks.
Wow.
The Texans,
I knew they had too much draft capital, man.
Yeah.
I knew they were going to be dangerous.
their pick is in. If they come out with Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud, we're just going to A+ draft right now.
We're in trouble. Titans season's getting more grim by the pick
Great
here.
Coach, a great young coach in Texas. They're maybe getting some of the sins of Bill O'Brien back. I'm interested to see if it's Will Anderson or if it's Tyree Wilson.
I think it's Will Anderson. Like Saban's been on the screen here.
I think it is too.
I
would say Will Anderson.
I don't want the dog to ground us out.
So the Colts now.
It's driving me crazy. So, Raj Mehta will be joining us. Sure, Raj, if you're out there, we're waiting on you, buddy. I can't text you. I've got the phone. One of y'all text Raj. Tell him, make sure he's still coming.
Wow, man, the Texans that's a power play.
Mm-hmm. That's a super great play by them.
The number 2 offensive player and the number 1 defensive player.
Well, they had 11 picks. I mean,
yeah.
Look, they had plenty of cash flow here.
Again, theme of the Titans' lives. Thanks, Haslam's.
Right.
Here we go. The pick is in. The Houston Texans. I'm still going with. They've been showing Saban on. I'm on a different draft feed than you. Now they just showed Saban. Commissioners coming up. Interdivision, guys. That's a lot. That's a lot of.
Wow, this is insane. I knew it was going to be a wild ride.
Straight to you after the pick, Raj.
Whoa.
All right, Raj. Welcome, Raj Mehta in. So the Texans have come out of the draft. I feel like we're watching draft day with C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson at pick 2 and 3. Brandon just called it.
Those are the 2 most important positions in football.
Yeah,
the defensive end and the quarterback.
You're right, Robbie. It is the 2 most important position. Raj, I know you're just getting settled in. What's your gut reactions to the Texans making this move?
I mean, I'd like to see what they gave up. Wow.
Great detail.
That's a shocker. You know, this is a team that also signed, Dalton Schultz at tight end from Dallas, Jimmy Ward, the DB from San Francisco. So, Devin Singletary from Buffalo. So they've gone from nothing to something to reckon with in that division real quick.
Robbie, you were making the point. I want to go back. I don't want to lose that point.
Wow.
The Texans just added the number 2 quarterback, the number 1 defensive player at the 2 most important positions in football. It's a nice start to a draft. I don't remember anybody drafting twice inside the top 5. Not in the last 20 years that can come up.
All right. So I joked earlier about the city council coming and getting the money back for the stadium in Nashville. Now I say, let's take that money and bring Bill O'Brien back. Fund for the Texans. We need him back. No, in all seriousness, if both of these are hits, if both of these are triples or home runs, this is the night the Texans franchise just turned around. If you have 2 all-pro MVP caliber players on those two positions, and you got them at the same age, at the same time, that's amazing.
Both of them are going to be on rookie contracts. Here's the trade details. Brendan, I'll come to you to react first. The Cardinals send the 3rd and the 105th pick in this draft. They receive the 12th pick, the 33rd pick, the Texans' first-round pick in 2024, and their 3rd-round pick in 2024. So as happy as we are for the Texans, the Cardinals move back 8 spots, pick up a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3.
That's a hefty price, but I mean, you're getting, like Robbie said, if these two hit, it's a price well worth it. Well worth it, because these, you could have a potential 10-year guy here and a quarterback and another franchise guy here on the defensive side that's going to really anchor down and be a piece to build around. So I'm happy for them. I hate it because we're in the same division, but I mean, what a move! I'd be so happy if I was a Texans fan right now.
All right, I'm going to go through get reaction before we go to the Colts. Only 4 minutes all left on the clock. Long rumored Anthony Richardson to the Colts. He's sitting there. As far as draft day moves so far, what do you give that? What do you rate that, Brandon? A, B, C, D? What do you give the Texans?
The Texans, that's an A+ in my opinion. I mean, that was a move we did not see coming, or it was not even talked about. And I mean, they just got 2 of the best players in the entire draft. So I mean, how else would you grade it?
I think Robbie will agree. That's an A+ move. But Robbie, what is the? Is this you called it a power play, and I think we just see it. Draft capital at expenditure right there.
Yeah, the Falcons aren't near as bad as the Titans and the Raiders, but and I've said it on many times, Titans, Raiders, look, draft picks, if you keep screwing them up, they're worthless. So I don't care about future draft picks if you're not in it, if you're not doing well now. So hey, this could be a 24th pick in next year's draft if these guys are good or moving along. So you don't know how the NFL goes. I don't mind giving away future draft picks if you can get 2 of the top 5 picks in one draft. And then Randall, you said it. These guys are both coming on rookie contracts. You have cap. You can build around them. Look, the only way to combat Mahomes and that dynasty is rookie contracts at your most important positions and build around them.
Time out real quick before the Colts pick is in. One of Arizona's biggest needs is edge. Right now they're starting Jonathan Ledbetter and Zaven Collins, who was drafted from Tulsa as a linebacker rush edge. J.J. Watt retired. He wasn't doing anything. Like, you got a potential generational pass rusher.
Yeah.
With Will Anderson, his strength, explosion, everything. I know a lot of us love Nolan Smith, but who's to say he's going to be there at 12? And I don't think this is as deep of a position. To me, this was like quarterback. There was Will Anderson, a top guy, Bryce Young, and then everybody else. So why the hell are you trading down from a pick of probably your biggest position of need? I don't get it at all. Like, if I'm Arizona.
Yeah, yes, Colts, yes.
Here we go. Colts are in. Anthony Richardson, Florida, and Raj, we've got you up right now. This is a pure projection. Anthony Richardson played against the Tennessee defense that's not so great. 6'3.5", 244. Throw the football out to the stadium, but I don't know if you saw it, but my friend Dennis Swaney was on in a pre-draft special with me, who is a Florida fan, who is someone that's seen Anthony Richardson. And Raj, he called him the most unfinished quarterback in this draft. Start with that. What's your impressions of the pick? Then we'll come to Robbie, and then we'll come to Brandon to end it up.
Yeah, I'll be right back, guys.
Well, first of all, I'm going to cry because the Raiders didn't draft him.
Will Evans.
So happy. As of right now, the Colts, they signed Gardner Minshew from Philly, but obviously this is going to be a specific type of offense with Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss. They have pretty good receivers there, but there's stats to tilt in every direction. You guys love Hendon Hooker. I like him too. There were stats to back up the fact that he was one of the worst. He had made 15 total second reads his entire career at Tennessee. Never really had to break down a play and make certain throws, whereas Richardson did. So it depends on the offense and the situation you're going to put him in. I'm just glad he's not a Raider. He could be a dynamic player. He could do a lot of things, but again, we're big, especially me. Proof is in the pudding, and I never saw him effectively do anything of note in college football against a good team. So I don't know why people think it's going to happen in the NFL.
All right, Robbie, you said this is the pick. You want it.
55% completion percentage in college football. Hey, just when you start to get depressed as a Titans fan, the Texans do this and you get worried, and then the Colts come back and totally redeem themselves and make a pick like this. Nice. So, hey, as long as we don't pick Levis at 11, I'm breathing easy. I'm like Raj. I'm happy the Titans didn't do this. And so if we can get past 11th without screwing this up, actually, hell, I hope the Raiders take Levis.
I do too.
All right,
that would be great. Yeah,
I'm with Raj a little bit. Let me tell y'all one thing about this. At best, and here's what I've said through the draft process. At the best, you got Cam Newton. In the 1% chance, you got Donovan McNabb. But I think at best, you got Cam Newton. Brandon, in the division, you now have two new quarterbacks. Start there.
You have Malik Willis.
Yeah, I'm happy about this pick for the Colts. That makes me so happy. That's almost as good as trading up and getting CJ. So it does suck. I've got a little bias towards CJ, so I will at least get to see him play several times. So that'll be good. But golly, thank God it wasn't us that did this, because I saw a lot of projections with the Titans and Richardson, and I was going to relinquish my PSLs if that happened. So
I'm buying an Anthony Richardson jersey.
That's not the most sure pick. We're moving so fast, Robbie. I think we'll get through more than 10 picks because we're at pick 5. I may stay with it a couple more and give it to you. Let's exchange. You host starting with Detroit. Let me get through Seattle. You take Detroit and Las Vegas, and I'll come back for Atlanta. But I want to go to Raj real fast. Raj, Pete Carroll, Seattle, famously took Bruce Irvin a couple of years ago to rush the passer. There's still a freakish athlete that you talked about, Tyree Wilson. You didn't know what he was. To me, I love him. Is this the place where Pete Carroll's and he takes the edge rusher?
I think so. I've said I'm not as sold on Tyree Wilson as others, but it's obvious that's what they need badly. That defense was built around that. They signed Draymond Jones, which is an excellent sign, interior defensive lineman. He actually could play both inside and out, but from Denver, and that was a great sign. They also signed Jaron Reed, a tackle, defensive tackle from Denver. So they are begging for an edge rusher. And with Wilson, you got a guy who's just 6'6", 271 with like a 38-foot wingspan. Has the production always been there? I think he had 7 sacks each of the last 2 years.
7 and 7.
But, in that defense with 2 new defensive tackles, it's going to be a real nice fit for them. And I think that's the way they go.
Who's at the top of your board now, Brandon?
Skoronski or Paris Jr. Paris Johnson Jr. would be who I'm looking at an offensive tackle. Even Wright out of UT. I mean, I would be happy with him. Might be a bit of a reach at 11, but I think we start there. We've got Henry. We need to build that offensive line, work with what we got with Tannehill for a year. And then, who knows if Hooker could fall to the second round. If he's not there, I like someone like Cam Smith if he's available, or another secondary to kind of shore that up. Joey Porter Jr. Again, might be a little. He probably won't be there at 72, but yeah, I'm looking at O-line right here.
All right, everybody. Our friend Robbie Davis is taking over to run the place. I'm going to produce still. I'll move people around. Robbie, if you'll take us through the next 3 picks, the Seahawks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be surprised if it's not Jalen Carter here. This is Pete Carroll's MO taking, hey, I'll look over the, potential red flags and I'll take it. I'll take a risk on him. Carroll's older. He's confident. He thinks he can turn chicken bleep into chicken salad. And so I think Jalen Carter's going to come here. We'll see.
Yeah, Draymond Jones, I mean, he was a guy from Denver who had 6.5 sacks. He's like 6-something, 280. So he can play the edge. And Jalen Carter's at the top of my overall board by far. You also got Nolan Smith down the line. But, no, you make a great point. I was trying to think in my head that Draymond was more interior. But, he can do both. And Jalen Carter is up there when it comes to just – PFF had them as their number 2 overall prospect on their big board. So it would be tough to pass up on him.
Yeah, to that point, like if one of those guys are there for the Titans when we pick, I mean, absolutely grab them. But I don't think they're going to be there, and I think we're looking at one of the offensive linemen. That's why I said that.
Oh, yeah. Now I was talking about the Seahawks pick right now, who I think it's going to be.
Yeah. I'd love to have Jalen Carter. Can you imagine him with Big Jeff on the other side? Golly.
No, but knowing the Raiders, he'll probably somehow still be there, and then they'll draft the DB, probably the wrong one, and somebody else will get Carter, and he'll go to the Hall of Fame.
You're taking Will Levis.
Hey,
Dude, if they take Levis.
As a guy, Raj is a guy who's sitting there number 8 right behind you. The people I wanted is still there, and that being Christian Gonzales
or Devon Witherspoon. Yeah.
That defensive talent is still there. Robbie, why don't you take over and announce the pick, and we'll just ride with you for the next 3 picks.
All right. Yeah, so Seahawks pick is in. It is. Oh, Devon Witherspoon, cornerback. Okay.
Nice.
All right. I don't hate that pick. I mean,
no, I don't hate that at all.
Best cornerback in the draft.
He's up there. Big physical man corner. That's something Pete Carroll obviously loves. Dude's on an island this year. Tyree Wilson played well. The other corner is Mike Jackson, so they need help there. As a Raider fan, like Randall, I liked Gonzales better. I thought, but Witherspoon shot up draft boards this last 3 weeks. So I don't hate it.
5'11". He's small. He's small but quick. But
Yeah, he's physical. He's a strong dude. Just instincts galore. So big burst, and as you see there in a lot of the clips here, he lays the hat, dude. He is not afraid to attack on the outside.
Hey, they're doing him some favors playing against Indiana.
Through that. No doubt. Everybody
looks
good.
Back when Tennessee sucked for a decade, every SEC highlight was against Tennessee.
Just to jump in for a second, Robbie, I'm with Raj. I really do like Christian Gonzales better than this. I had him listed as my second DB or corner off the board.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think as long as you don't go from 1 to 4, people can have differences of 1, 2.
You can grade them a little higher here or there.
I think it was the first year we did this draft when the Raiders went number 8 tackle on the first round, like that's when you're like, what in the hell are you thinking?
Leatherwood.
Leatherwood, yes.
Leatherwood, yeah.
Who they've already cut. They cut midway through this past year.
Guys, so transition to the next pick. We've heard a lot about the Lions, what they need. Obviously, Tom's a big Lions fan. We've heard about their needs. Brandon, where do you think they go from here?
Oh man, I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea what they're going to do. I think what was Tom saying the other day?
Tom said the coach, the GM, and the owner have to be all in
on Jalen Carter.
Yeah, and they said
something with his character issues.
Yeah, that stuff. He got in trouble in Georgia. So they said it's not going to be him by all accounts. So if he's off,
that would be silly if that's the case, because that's exactly what they need. I mean, in some respects, you want another end opposite of Hutchinson, but dude, put Carter and Hutchinson together.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, yeah. I mean, if they said that, then he'll fall available to the Raiders, and then I can watch the Raiders not pick him and then cry myself to sleep again.
Randall, what do you like in here for Detroit?
I think the most logical pick for the Lions is Jalen Carter too. As much as I liked the Lions last year, and I was screaming they're a playoff team, they're not physical up front. And I heard what Tom said on y'all's show, and I cannot express the GM is the GM. He's the one that picks the eggs. The owner owns, the coach. If the GM's pick is Jalen Carter, nobody else should be involved in it. So I was really
Randall. That is.
It was nice to see Dimitrov do that.
That is logical. That's sensible. That's well reasoned. Overruled because the Lions have not been the Lions for the last 30 years by thinking logical. They get themselves in these hissy fits and they just don't do it.
I'm thinking if Jalen, guys, I'm a Falcons fan, and I'm thinking there's going to be a ton of pressure on the Falcons to take Jalen Carter if he's sitting there.
Oh yeah, no, I think he should.
Sure.
I mean, he's obviously one of the top 3 players, arguably in the draft, and then I think the Titans are going to take Christian Richardson or Christian Gonzales. And help shore up their defensive backfield because maybe offensive line, but I think there's maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're listening to Tom. Maybe Tom's wrong. Who knows? But I feel like even when push comes to shove, you're sitting here at 7 and 6 or 7 over pick we're on, and just top 3 players available. How do you not pick him?
I mean, if you guys are looking like Randall, if somebody were to tell you that Carter and who else, like these guys would still be available right now, what would you say? Like, I'm not going to even mention what's his name, but even, Christian Gonzales, Nolan Smith. I thought a lot of these guys would be gone by now. I thought somebody would have taken an offensive lineman, but I'm definitely surprised that Jalen Carter is still on the board.
I think we've seen Robbie said, the offensive league, and we're seeing the emphasis on offense. We had 3 quarterbacks already off the board. And you see the Seattle, a DB off the board. So everybody that's coming off the board other than Will Anderson's either to throw the ball down the field or to stop it.
Randall and Raj.
Hold
on, we got a trade alert.
Cardinals.
Traded down. Oh, they're getting Jalen Carter. That's slick if that's what the Cardinals just did.
Yeah.
Draft day, dude. They traded down and now they just traded up to get their guy who I wanted.
Jalen Carter, I'm going to give them an A+ too.
Yeah.
They are going to get Carter.
Super slick move right there.
But again, Tyree Wilson, who I love, is still on the board. And I said the only person that could get the Falcons not to pick Bijan Robinson was Tyree Wilson. We'll see.
Hey, if they just get Jalen Carter, slot him 4 picks later, less money, and get
Dude, they just jumped. They went so they gave up their 6th overall pick, went to Arizona, and Detroit got the 12th overall pick and a 2nd round pick, number 34, which is
just got hosed.
Yeah. The Cardinals just fleeced. The Cardinals just fleeced the Lions.
And they moved up 6 spots. Now they did get number 34, which is basically like a 1st round pick, but I know this is going to be Jalen Carter, and this is going to be my Raider moment number 1.
Yeah.
Tyree Wilson, and then that's going to be my Falcons moment number 1.
Wow. The Cardinals, who would have thought them doing moves?
You wonder what was planned, dude. Like, collusion, damn it. Detroit and Arizona and Houston.
Paris Johnson Jr.
Whoa, what?
What?
Whoa.
What is happening?
Dang, I wanted him.
That's who I had the whole time.
Their offensive line needs massive amounts of work to keep that quarterback's mouth shut. But I don't think this was a guy that you had to give up anything for, really. I mean, unless
he wasn't going to be there at 12, but
I mean, most people thought Skoronski was a higher graded.
He was graded higher on the big board. PFF had him graded higher.
Yeah, but Skoronski.
One of those two linemen would have been there at 12.
Yeah, the way this is going,
I would think so, based upon need. Yeah.
Okay, now this changes things again. Wow, man, this draft, it's almost like they're like the hell of the NBA playoffs. We're taking all the attention again because there's not enough room for anyone else. Okay, so a lineman,
Robbie,
a great lineman, a solid pick. But what do you think about this, Randall?
Well, I was just trying to make the point that Paris Johnson's a true left tackle. Peter Skoronski is probably going to slide inside the guard.
Mm-hmm.
In the combine, Skoronski's, and this goes back to all the measurables that I don't know are right or wrong, but Skoronski would basically have the smallest reach of any tackle in the NFL. So most people have him projected sliding inside. That's the reason so many people have the Eagles taking him and sliding him over to left guard. I thought Paris Johnson – I thought if the Titans did not move up for C.J. Stroud, that was their guy. And I'm a little shocked, to be honest.
Well, Brandon, not to be homers, but we may be looking at Jalen Carter falling all the way to 11.
I'd be super happy with that.
Yeah, I would too.
I'll take that.
But without further ado, Vegas is on the clock, and Mr. Raider Man, you have 5 minutes and approximately 30 seconds till meltdown. So what do you anticipate really blowing the casket here?
I mean, it's pretty clear that Jalen Carter is the best player available. It's also very clear that is a massive position of need. As I said, with them, you got to start with where are they like, all right, we good. And that's basically receiver and running back. That's it. They need something everywhere, and Jalen Carter solves so many problems. I'm not as big of a Tyree Wilson guy. They got Chandler Jones. They think they need someone to go across from Max Crosby, but Garoppolo was signed to a 3-year deal, so what sense does it make? I'm just scared to death they're going to get Levis, and you guys know my feelings on him. You also know my quasi-racist feelings on white guys with arm tattoos at quarterback. Mel has Levis is the second available. The Raiders also like to make noise with running backs, like a Bijan guy. But really, I think it'll be Christian Gonzales or Jalen Carter. I hope it'll be Jalen Carter. But
hey, I don't want to throw in. I haven't heard anything, but I do know Jalen Hyatt is a fast receiver who runs a deep route. And so if you just want to throw it deep to a receiver, he can get open.
the ghost of Al Davis picking
Yes.
Darius Hayward Bay once again. Like just constant speed. They did that with the DB out of Miami in 2002, Philip Buchanan. Wasn't that great of a player, but he was fast as hell. Remember McFadden at number 4, Arkansas? Nothing. Rolando McClain was one of the fastest linebackers, 2010 Alabama. Nothing out of football. Gary and Conley, Ohio State, 2017. Useless. Henry Ruggs, 2020. First-round pick, number 12, the fastest guy like ever in the draft.
Hey, Rod,
for DUI murder.
Some good news. I think Christian Gonzales run the fastest time at a cornerback in the draft this year.
They're showing him on TV too.
And
he's a great athlete. The thing is, all things about Gonzales should say that he's an awesome man DB, but he actually probably plays better in zone, which is kind of a concern. Granted, they played a lot of good receivers and great quarterbacks in the pack, but I mean, I just Jalen Carter, by almost every account, is like a top 3 player overall in the draft. Like, there's no debating that. I don't see anywhere. And I just for once want them to make a pick where nobody can dispute the talent of the guy they selected.
All right, Robbie, you might want to brace yourself.
Oh, here the pick is in. We're gonna stick on Raj as we watch this live.
It's gonna be Gonzales because ESPN knows everything.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's Gonzales too. I think you're right.
I mean, he's fast.
That he is, dude. Another athlete who's supposed to, like I said, play man, but doesn't really do well what he's supposed to do.
Me would be Dalton Kincaid, who's a great tight end, but you replace Darren Waller with Dalton Kincaid.
There's no way they take tight end this early here.
Well, I didn't.
Not in this class.
Detroit took Hawkinson, but
tight ends weak this year too.
There's a lot of tight end value down the line, but it would be like the Raiders to be like, Darnell Washington is a freak of nature. We've never seen him. We don't care if he's got a 2nd-round grade. We like him. We're gonna take him.
Well, how about Ningbo? Is there any talk of Ningbo with this pick?
Of who's that?
Jackson Smith Ningbo.
Smith Ninjigba.
I can never say his name, JSN. I mean, he's
JSN.
It depends what's going to happen with Renfro and whatnot. He's a slot guy that just gets open, man. He wins every ball. He's really quick. He just is always open, and he showed that in that Rose Bowl where he had 18,000 yards. I do think he's the best overall receiver in the draft. He doesn't have blazing speed or anything, but the Raiders signed Jacoby Myers. They have Devontae. They have Renfro. But again, positions of needs is not always what the Raiders do.
Yeah, I don't see them going with wide receiver here at all. I think it's got to be Gonzales or Carter.
I tell you who's looking.
Their offensive line sucks too. I just think Skoronski is. It's like Robert Gallery back in the day. Just short arms, a big dude. He's going to play guard, and you don't use number 7 on a guard.
What if the that with Jalen Carter after trading out of number 1?
I feel like
Bijan
like 4 laxatives, and I'm waiting for like it to happen. Like, is it about to come out of my ass yet? Like,
Tom, I sent you the link if you want to jump on with us.
Tyree Wilson.
You may hate that. He was I had him rated over Will Anderson.
Really?
Yes.
I don't hate it. I'm glad they went to that position again. They had Yannick Ngakoue and traded him for Rakia Sin and Chandler Jones, who did nothing. Jalen Carter is a guy that can do so much inside and out, 6'3", 314 pounds. You know, I know it's the AFC West, so you need edge rushers. You got to put pressure. But, I mean, Jalen Carter is a guy that creates pressures for others.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I saw the flashes, but did you see the real production? Did I see a burst? I mean, I just think we see a long-armed dude who looks like a freak, but I've never seen a guy that was blazing fast or, you know, like I just think he looks like he's really good, but is he?
I'm going to give you, and the Falcons are up next. Robbie's going to take a little break. I'm going to give you my comparisons for him is Jadeveon Clowney. And I think this dude faced a double team. What Will Anderson didn't face at Alabama because they are so good up front, Tyree Wilson, every time he stepped on the field, was doubled and triple teamed. I think you just made a brilliant pick, in my opinion.
There's a 7.5-foot wingspan on him. And again, it's not like a killer to me. I'm just in big fan of Jalen Carter. I do like it better than Christian Gonzales, the more tape I watched. Sorry to disappoint everyone. When it comes to value, that's actually an overall ranked number 4 on ESPN, on PFF. He is I guess he's down a little bit. PFF has
28.
28.
Yeah.
You can see the RiverCity-Media rank, and he was number 5. And that's
what matters, damn it.
To start. Hey, Brandon, I'll go to you. Well, we'll come back to Raj in a minute. This is very interesting for the Falcons. Picks are in. They've been a long time. They've been connected to Bijan Robinson, but now
Will Levis,
30 minutes away. Jalen Carter is available at 8. If not, he slips to the Bears, who were going to take him with the number 1 overall pick. So the Bears trade back to 9 and still get the same guy they were going to take.
Well, what about Will Levis? They just showed him up there.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm still digesting the Raiders pick. You know, Atlanta signed Heineke. They did a great job, man. They signed Jesse Bates. They got a starter. Mehta, they got a starter. Calais Campbell, they got a starter. Heineke, is he a starter? I don't know, but
no, he's not. So if you're going to believe Arthur Miller and Terry Fontenot, 23 belongs to Desmond Ridder, and we're going to find out if Desmond Ridder is the real deal. So if we take Will Levis, you might see me in a full-blown we traded A.J. Brown, we took Alex Weatherwood meltdown. So, Robbie, welcome back here. I just really want to get your impressions of Tyree Wilson to the Raiders.
You know, I mean, it's a solid pick. It's not the disaster that I was hoping for. No, I mean, it's a good pick, and he's a good athlete. I'm more concerned that if Atlanta doesn't take Levis, Chicago doesn't need a quarterback, Philly doesn't need a quarterback.
Gosh, don't say it.
This is not looking good.
I swear to God, if the Titans do that.
No, like someone needs to trade up for the Bears or the Phillies pick or the Eagles pick.
I'm gonna lose it.
Or the Titans. Or the Titans just skip the pick. Don't get a pick in.
I mean,
Atlanta trade down before you screw it up. Trade down.
We're gonna wait till Levis is off the board.
Yeah.
Keep sliding.
Next
back.
team go. We don't want to trade. You just take our spot. We'll take it.
Look,
Randall, do you think this is Gonzales or do you think this is Jalen Carter? Because obviously, you know, I know they signed Jeff Okudah, but obviously a disappointment in Detroit. In A.J. Terrell, you know, the Raiders took Mullen, one Clemson corner. Atlanta takes Terrell like the year after, and he ends up being 20 times the guy.
I think the pick's Bijan Robinson. I think Arthur wants a dominant running back, and I think that is the one dominant running back in the draft.
I've seen a lot of that in mock drafts.
I don't want it to be right now. I'm hoping we take Jalen Carter.
But again, in mock drafts, you never saw Jalen Carter available.
Algiers, 1,000-yard rusher. Cordero had 700 yards and 8 TDs. I mean, they had 1,800 yards and 11 TDs between those two.
Cordell's going back to wide receiver for the most part.
I guess they don't have a choice there, yeah.
And
he's one of the best weapons in football.
And Bijan, Coach Miller has publicly said that Robinson can play the slot. And, you know, he had – when he had the tight end that just got cut in New England we signed, he was Derrick Henry's backup at one point. So he's real big on using people in different spots. So I don't know.
What about Nolan Smith? You know, an edge guy. I think Caden Ellis right now is starting. Calais Campbell's 90. You got Miles Murphy out of Clemson. I really like Nolan Smith a lot. PFF liked him a lot better than Tyree Wilson.
I just hate it.
Like Will McDonald IV, Iowa State. I think you got to go defense if you're Atlanta, don't you? You can win a lot of games in that division with a good defense.
I don't know. As I don't hear Will Levis, I might not. I'll be okay.
Yeah, that's like I said.
Robbie, be prepared. If Will Levis is the pick, I'll be back in about 5 minutes. I may relapse too. No, I'm just kidding.
Morbid humor is always the best humor.
You know, we're getting through some picks. Are we going to stay till 10 o'clock, guys, or are we just going to stay till the Raiders pick here?
The Raiders already picked. Thank God.
The Titans pick.
I still think the Raiders screwed up. I mean,
I don't think they did.
I just, I think you could trade down and get that guy at a different spot. Again, it's about value. Jalen Carter is the best value. I like Nolan Smith better also. But let's see what Atlanta does. So Randall, he's getting up there in age, dude. If it's too much of a pick, dude, we could lose him.
Yes! Yes! Okay, I'm happy.
Wow. So you're happy with the home run hitter who at times was the closest thing to Reggie Bush that I saw. He's bigger.
Yeah.
War number 5. Got hurt a lot, but yeah, I mean, he is as good of a running back. I mean, not even close this year. And you obviously seem very happy, and that can be
put him and Patterson in the same backfield, and you can move them around and really be dangerous.
You just created thunder and lightning in the NFL. You have Algiers, who is a pure tackle-to-tackle runner. You have Bijan Robinson on the corner. And look, guys, I'm telling you, Coach Miller envisions him on the field at wide receiver. And I envision 3 wide, 4 wide being Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Cordell.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
That's as good a 4 on the field at any time as anybody in the NFL can put in. But the story now is, Robbie, I'm going to go to you. You know, I'm excited. I'm happy. But what's going on right now, the Chicago Bears were going to draft Jalen Carter, rumored at number 1. Now they're at number 9, and they're about to get Jalen Carter and pick up 3 draft picks.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles grab him right here.
You think it's the – well, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, the Eagles are sitting here. They don't have many holes at all. Add another stud defensive tackle, and that's a good locker room. That's it would make. I mean, that I don't know why you wouldn't go there.
The Bears need interior defense badly. They did go out inside T.J. Edwards from Philadelphia, and then who, when healthy, is probably the best linebacker in the league, Tremaine Edmonds from Buffalo. So, I mean, they've had a huge investment into their defense. Also, the Titans guard, Nate Davis, you guys know well. But, you got two stud starting linebackers. So it would make sense to even further bump up that middle of the defense and get Jalen.
A couple of feedback. Tom called the pick, Bijan, and then Howie, 10-year Falcon season ticket holder. And I know what Howie was hoping for with the what the crap. And Tom's also reporting Chicago and Philly have swapped picks. I think that does Philly is probably moving up to get
Jalen Carter.
Yeah. This is looking up to be a disaster.
Philly just lost Hargrave. Javon Hargrave signed with San Francisco, their outstanding defensive tackle.
Rod,
So now Philly's got a hole there.
We both dodged the Will cannonball. Now it's up to Robbie and Chain to dodge it.
Yeah, dude.
God bless.
Like I said with Philly, you lost Hargrave. Fletcher Cox is another starter right now, and he's 32, but it seems like he's 82. This makes obvious sense. He's a Philly type of guy. I'd be really surprised if it's not Jalen Carter.
Rob, I mean, how worried are you getting it to Will Levis?
So the irony of this whole thing is about 3 or 4 hours ago, there was talk that the Titans would trade up, get CJ Stroud, and then we were going to both trade up and then screw over the Texans and the Colts. Now it appears the shoe's on the other foot. The Texans have traded up, and now they're going to screw over the Colts and the Titans. How worried am I? On a scale of 1 to 10, a 10.
Mm-hmm. Well, we just don't know where Rand Cothran's head is.
Yeah,
like
the fact that neither team ahead of us is taking a quarterback.
He's a wild
pick, so they're good.
It's just.
Don't forget also with Philly, they traded up last year to get Jordan Davis, defensive tackle from Georgia. So Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, two Georgia defensive tackles and former teammates. Wow, that would make a lot of sense there.
Yeah. I don't know why you don't trade up. That's who you're going to pick.
Yeah. Do we know what the Bears got? Oh, they just fell down one spot?
Yeah, and then a 2024 4th-round pick.
Oh, man. That's pretty good.
That's just saying we don't want Jalen Carter if that's the pick or if the pick is.
Yeah.
I mean, basically.
No one trade in front of us, yeah.
Yep.
This has been some of the most trades in the first round I've seen in a long time.
And we're not even out of the top 10 yet.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Back and forth. Like
you got New England's got tons of picks. They're coming in at some.
They've got 11 picks.
Yeah.
Houston's got a ton of draft capital, but
they have.
The Bears need offensive line. Skoronski, the Northwestern kid from Chicago. I'm just saying.
Could be.
Again, though, they don't need a guard. They need somebody on the edge that can keep Homeboy alive to seal.
Yeah, but they could have got that without trading up, I would think.
Nice.
It's got to be Carter.
Jalen Carter, Georgia, which is going to be right now in Atlanta. They're melting down because they drafted Bijan Robinson and not Jalen Carter.
That's the steal of the draft so far.
I'm melting down too. Someday I hope to hear that for the Raiders. That's the steal of the draft.
Hey, Robbie, last year Georgia had the number 1 overall pick. Shit. We talked about Jordan Davis who was Philly last year. But I'm telling you, 2 years ago when we saw Georgia in Knoxville, Jalen Carter was the best defensive lineman on that football team, even compared to the 2 that went in the top 10 last year.
If what they're talking about right now doesn't happen, he's the number 2 pick in the draft. to the Texans.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, it did happen, and he's stupid. Hopefully, he learned his lesson from this.
Yeah.
And allegedly, obviously. Hopefully, he did learn his lesson, and then, like I say, he's going to a good locker room, good ownership group, and I mean, I think that's it.
Phillies.
Man, they went to the Super Bowl last year, and they just got a lot better.
Jalen Carter needed that kind of locker room with leadership and a good ownership. Jalen Carter, it's not just a wreck that was issues with him. They've been other off the field, but I'm going to go farther. He might be the number one player in the draft if it's not for the off the field issues.
Yeah,
I agree, man.
And going off the field, Tom, we're coming up on. I know you're listening. We're coming on Tennessee and Detroit, picking 11 and 12. Hop on here and get on here and talk those two picks with us.
Yeah, come on, Tom, jump on.
The Bears pick is in, and so they knew who Philly was taking, and so they know who they're taking. I'm guessing they're gonna need someone to protect Hurts.
This could be
Gonzales,
the first Tennessee player here in Darnell Wright, because Darnell Wright was a comer the whole draft process. And if you remember, for you don't know, and I know I'm a little bit of a homer, Darnell Wright was the number one offensive tackle in America as a senior in high school, come under Pruitt, struggled. Wanye Morris, who ended up at Oklahoma that projects to be a 6th, 7th round pick, was much more early the dominant player. But if you watch Alabama, Tennessee, Darnell Wright shut Will Anderson down, and he made himself first round money.
He did, yeah.
That night. I
agree.
If I'm the Bears, I need Gonzales, man. I need DB. Their starting DBs are pretty bad. Aaron Rodgers is gone from the division, but you still got Minnesota and Jefferson, and they definitely need DB help. But we shall see.
And O-line.
I'm gonna let
Skoronski, yeah. I think the issue with Skoronski, again, we talked about how he'd probably be slid inside. After that, at tackle, maybe it's Broderick Jones out of Georgia.
Yeah.
Darnell Wright, like you said. After that, I think it's an even bigger drop. But maybe some of those guys, or like I said, Christian Gonzalez. I think we're all set on offensive line or DB, which of course means they'll pick something completely different.
I just keep looking at this draft lineup. I'm just like, don't do it. Don't do it.
I mean, what round did they draft Malik Willis in last year? Third. Did they trade up for him?
Yes.
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we traded like
maybe a fourth or nothing too big. But we traded up and got him, and
that's what just drives me nuts is when teams try up, third round, that's a high round pick. That's a future starter in the NFL. And then he plays like 3 games and you already give up on him. Like,
he's bad. Yeah,
he's really bad.
Yeah. There's no, even though Randall wanted to take him number 1 overall.
Hey, I just didn't want him in Atlanta. The bracketing of him and Desmond Ridder, it's dramatic, the changes in the direction after a year. Desmond Ridder is the quarterback in Atlanta and is the quarterback for the foreseeable future. And if you follow how to win in this league, it's find a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal and spend all the money the Falcons did last year.
Doesn't make mistakes. And that's what Ridder is. He's a smart veteran guy that doesn't make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't take a lot of risks.
There's a Cincinnati homer coming out of him.
Yeah, that's me. I do like Ivan Pace, the linebacker from Cincinnati.
I wish
Sauce Gardner.
I wish I could split screen Robbie and Hey, let's welcome in. I think
Hey, fellas.
What's up, buddy?
here's the logo. Let me cut the freaking logo off.
I'm a little under the weather, but I'll stick out a couple picks here.
I think a couple picks about all left in us.
Brandon and Rob look like the same guy, so put one of them under the logo. Like literally.
All right. Hold on.
They look like staff.
From Tennessee. I called it.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
He shot through the draft boards. I'm not surprised. If you really had a marker at tackle, it was Darnell Wright. I thought he would be the second tackle off the board after Paris Johnson. But let's bring Tom in. You were reporting earlier something about Swift. Is that just a rumor, or is that something you know?
There's a lot of grumbling out of Allen Park that they're not sold on him. He's a China doll. They've had health concerns with him, every year that he's been there. So I'm not too sure if they're sold on him. That's one reason why they brought in Montgomery.
No.
So, I mean,
Titans pick is already in. That's the bad sign.
I'm gonna throw Robbie up real fast because this could get epic.
Why are they looking at Hooker here?
Hey, Robbie,
They're looking at the offensive tackle.
Oh, right.
And the Titans pick, their pick is in immediately. This is not.
I know this is not good.
But before we
That's
go to
offensive line, dude.
Skoronski.
It's got to be Skoronski.
Yeah.
We
They
do
let
need guard help too.
Davis
We need
go,
guard help
they let-
bad. So
Who else did they let go? They let Ben Davis. They let somebody else go.
Jones is gone. Of course, Lawan's gone.
Yeah, they need
I don't
help.
Saffold, I think, is
an
gone
offensive
too.
lineman that quick.
Yeah,
with the Bears taking Darnell Wright, you have left tackle. You have the Georgia kid that's still out there. It was rated higher than
What's that? Broderick, dude. What's
Jones.
Broderick Jones? Yeah.
To this, I want you as a fan to talk about how impressive Darnell Wright was, especially against Will Anderson the night in Knoxville.
Yeah, no, Randall, you said it. I'm not sure. I know Will Anderson didn't have a sack. I'm not sure he had a tackle.
It was unheard of the whole night.
Is he the one that threw up on the field?
he had one pressure in that game.
I think he was.
Darnell Wright. Yeah.
Crawford threw
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, but
Darnell
he
Wright.
Will Anderson.
He went against the best competition in the country, edge rusher in SEC, and 4-year starter, experience in different offenses, like a really good pick, and a guy that when you look at the tape, people are just like, wait a minute, why didn't we think this guy was a top 10, top 5 pick? Because
Hey, I just went to
he's
commercial
a hell of a player.
before Tom was saying.
Yeah,
So-
Tom.
So Swift could be gone from Detroit by the end of the draft.
I mean, there's a lot of speculation, pardon the pun, that they're just not happy with him. So I was thinking if Bijan was there at 12, that would be the case. I'm not sure now that he goes to Atlanta that they make that move, but he's on thin ice. I know that.
They did sign David Montgomery, correct? After letting Jamal Williams walk.
Right. Well, they
Another
gave Jamal Williams. They offered Jamal Williams the same contract that Montgomery got, and
All right,
Jamal basically turned it down.
Interesting.
let's get around the room real fast. Tom, who's the Titans pick?
It's either Will Levis or Skoronski.
All right, Raj, Titans pick.
I hope, just because Robbie's been such an asshole through the years, that it's Levis or somebody even worse at quarterback. What's the difference between Levis and Tannehill, really?
Hey,
They could use a DB also. McCreary and Fulton are their starters. Christian Gonzales would make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think JSN is a possibility here, Brandon.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've seen that on the board. I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at Broderick Jones, Skoronski. Just not Levis, just anybody but Levis at this point. Like, take one of the higher valued, like best on the board guys.
Have they given up?
I'll be happy with Gonzales. Like,
have they given up on Malik Willis?
Oh
Is
yeah,
that ship sailed?
Yeah, he's bad. He's
Anthony Richardson.
How much was that? How much of that was his fault? The team he was playing with was garbage.
No.
Well, when you can't hit a wide receiver wide open,
Robbie Davis,
pretty much his fault.
What about Hendon Hooker here?
No,
not here. Not
Malik Willis didn't know how to read a defense. He didn't know how to read. That's how bad it was in the NFL. Like this. There's a difference between one read offenses in like the SEC and the Big Ten.
And
one read offenses at Liberty. That's just your best. I mean, it's like playing on rookie mode in Madden. Yeah, I'll do the slant every time. It's going to be open.
All right, guys, we got 30 more minutes to go, so we'll get through Detroit's pick easy. Robbie, make a call. Titans pick.
Man, it better be Gonzales or JSN.
Will Levis.
Yeah, no, if we pick I'd trade for a bag of peanuts.
What is the biggest position of need overall?
Offensive line.
Offensive line, wide receivers.
Skoronski's the best pick for Tennessee right here.
I think
we need a guard.
You know what would be nice to have right now is AJ Brown. That would have been.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could wait until Treylon Burks gets good, then trade him for draft picks and then draft a rookie receiver.
Yeah,
that could make sense. I mean, a rookie receiver is not what you need.
Alex Leatherwood just took a shot.
Son of a.
Robbie, you're saying the pick's over, so you might as well just. I hope you have a drink. And Brandon, you're going up right after him. Here we go. Come here,
I'm going Gonzales.
I'm going to tackle from Georgia, Broderick Jones.
Gonzales is a playmaker, and
they haven't shown anyone. Which I don't. Is Levis there?
Levis is there. Yeah.
Yeah. He's there.
Skoronski is the pick. Northwestern. That makes sense, y'all.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Yep. Totally fine with that.
Yeah. Taylor Wan retired. And this is a Big Ten guy, Tom. And everybody criticized that he was a little small, but this guy's played a lot of football in the Big Ten.
He was a starter week 1 as a freshman in an offense that was run heavy. So, and he's a smart guy. He goes to Northwestern. You need guys that have it between the ears, especially in that position.
Yeah. I like it. I don't think he'll. Sorry, go ahead.
This fits.
Huh?
This fits well.
Oh yeah, it fits well. Even if we need guard help anyway, so even if we move him into a guard position, I am totally fine with that. This is a piece that we absolutely had to have on the offensive side. So, I'll give it a B. I know he was top graded at his position, but for this draft and the way it's gone, I'd say it's a B grade for Titans.
And he plays 2 positions. He can play
tackle
and guard. And so that
with his size, though, he'll probably more likely play guard in the NFL, sliding down a little bit, which is fine. Like I said, we need both interior linemen. So
you don't see a lot of guards picked this early, though. You would think maybe they could drop down, but you're right. He's a guy that can play all across that line.
Yeah.
And,
in the way linemen go down all the time. I mean,
that could be a little bit of their safety net because he does play 2 positions. Like, all right, let's try him at tackle and see. Worst case, we can move him to guard and know that he's going to be good there. So,
that's a top 10 pick at pick 11. We didn't reach. We didn't screw it up. I like it.
I mean, you got probably a 5 to to 7-year starter right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Health willing, and you can't go wrong
All
with
right,
that.
Lions on the clock, Tom. What do
It's
you
never a
think?
sexy pick, but I love
There
it.
you go, Tom.
I'm smelling Will Levis here. Unfortunately, the camera's on him right now, but I don't know. There was a lot of mocks that had him coming here. Christian Gonzales would be my pick.
This is pretty much where he's been slotted in.
Green Bay's behind. I think Green Bay wants Levis out.
What about Detroit loves taking their tight ends early. What about a guy
Michael
like
Mayer? I think they can get Mayer.
Michael Mayer?
Christian Gonzales is still there.
Yeah.
Right now, Brock Wright is their starting tight end. I mean, I love Darnell Richardson. I don't know why he's not higher up. Or Washington. Oh,
Running back.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Ooh.
There is talk about a dual.
You're right. Swift is out.
I mean,
for sure.
Wow. Yeah. Swift's gone.
See,
They
I
just took 2 running backs in the first.
Holy
12
mackerel.
I didn't see
5'9",
that coming.
199. He's a littler guy, but he's strong as hell. He ran a 4.36. I don't hate this pick at all. He can catch the ball. Obviously, he's got phenomenal hands.
Wow.
They love to throw. Lions offense loves those check downs or those bubble screens.
Big time.
And here's the thing.
Look at
When
the
you don't
speed.
have
4.36. He caught 103 passes for 1,200 yards in 3 years in college.
when you don't have a mobile quarterback like Jared Goff, you need a player like this. And this, when they were successful with Swift, when he was healthy, he was dumping the ball off. And so
absolutely.
this is
I had
interesting
Swift
pick,
in,
but valuable.
I had Swift in fantasy. He got a lot of
Hold on.
PPR points.
Jahmyr Gibbs changed the Tennessee game, running patterns out. I think he was Alabama's leading receiver that night. He's got special hands.
Big, like I said, 103 passes for 1,215 yards and 8 TDs receiving in his college career. He's got great hands, and you can put him everywhere, all over the field.
And they got the 18th pick, and there's still lots of talent out there. I like Nolan Smith in that one, or Michael Mayer. Whew.
Oh, they're dancing in the Detroit draft room. That was their guy.
Boy, they are happy.
Well, Dan Campbell said there was only 4 guys in this draft that had it. He used the rabbit ears, so
I could see him being one of those guys.
All right, guys, I don't want to jump completely off the Detroit pick here, but Robbie, I do have a question. You and I are both kind of general sports fans. What if Green Bay takes a wide receiver here after not taking one since 2002? Will Aaron Rodgers flip his living crap?
Well, I think they may do it just to keep the Jets from doing it 2 picks later. A little spite pick, if you will.
All right.
Quarterback's best friend is a tight end, aside from a great offensive lineman. You got Kincaid and Mayer here as well. That wouldn't be a bad pick for that team, especially, having those 2 running backs there as well. Getting a guy like Kincaid and Mayer who can block would be pretty smart, but I'm not sure who many think will go. Again, Gonzales is still on the board. Everybody can use an athletic DB.
Tom, all right, you've had a minute to digest. You were kind of shocked by the pick to start with. I wanted you to give a second for your head to get together.
Yeah, I mean, I think all indication was they were going to go defense here. But I think this is a situation where what they gained through free agency allowed them to make a risky move like this, and they feel comfortable. You want a guy that you can plug in week 1 and be a starter, and I really think this is it. He's somebody you can do that with, and he was flying up the boards. I think it was mid-second round a month ago, and coming into this weekend, they said that he's going to be a first-round pick. So he did something in his pro day in the combine that got a lot of people excited. So, you want weapons, and not having Jameson Williams there for 6 weeks, I think this helps. And
Cam Sutton
knows
these Vol fans love Cam Sutton. That was their big signing in the secondary, and Gardner Johnson from Philly.
Yeah.
But they got Cam Sutton, for a kudo, which is a win all day, every day. So
I just think
in that sense it makes it's a good fit.
Yeah, that opened the playbook for them. I think being able to get those guys. So, I mean, I've got friends texting right now that aren't really happy, but I trust Brad Holmes. He's been on point in 2 years. So if he's who they wanted and they could get him at 12 and they picked up that 32nd pick or 33rd pick, I think it's a good move because there's still great talent at 18. They got 4 more picks. They got another one.
Robbie Davis.
Exactly.
Leave us about 20 minutes early. We're going to stay till 10. But Robbie, you're traveling and you've been gracious enough to join us. Just go ahead. Final words. We'll let everybody else have them in a minute.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for being back. The draft's what started it all. One of my favorite nights of the year. Yeah, I'm a house guest in Atlanta this weekend, going to Taylor Swift tomorrow. And so I told them I wouldn't be yapping too long after the Titans pick. But hey, Brandon, we made it past 11. Now, if we can get Hooker in round 2, I'm liking it. But yeah, everyone, enjoy the rest of the draft. I'll be watching, but I've got to go socialize and stop yapping. But thanks for watching, everyone.
Calendar behind you. Enjoy your adorable concert.
Hey, your show is what? Throw it out there so everybody knows where to find you.
Hey, look, that's me. There's my brother, got my other brother, my sister-in-law, us in the Bahamas. There's us at the beach, Titans game. My parents up there. Yeah.
That must be a custom calendar. That's adorable.
It is. Every year.
Where's Mittens? I don't see Mittens anywhere.
Join us, Robbie.
All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Enjoy Taylor Swift.
The Packers pick are in. I'm telling you, I want this to be a wide receiver so bad.
I think it's tight end. Or Gonzales to go opposite Jair.
Defensive end.
Oh, wow.
Interestingly, this is who I have. I had started making some notes here about Detroit at 18. This is a name I wrote down at Detroit, thinking maybe you pair him with Aiden Hutchinson. But in your divisions, the Packers pick up a super productive player. I don't know if he has all the measurables, but a super productive player. 6'5", 272.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Green Bay Midwest type of guy. So, who's plays for the Bills? Plays for the Bills. Was played at Iowa. Drafted, I think, 3 years ago. He reminds me of him.
Poor man's Aiden.
Yeah, it's a good move. But I am kind of surprised they didn't go.
Oh, you mean AJ Esperant? That guy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Tom,
I'm really surprised they didn't go Smith and Jigba or Mayer because you're going to want to put weapons around Jordan Love. I don't think he's got many. So interesting.
So
they've got a couple second-round picks coming up. Green Bay does the 11th and the 14th pick in the second round, and I think there's going to be somebody good at tight end there.
Yeah,
you're right.
Another Iowa guy, Laporta.
How far is Levis sliding as we speak?
He's going down there, dude. I mean,
who's the next team? I mean, now you're getting into the team.
I mean, you could see Tampa Bay picking up a Levis at 19, possibly.
Yeah. Detroit.
Maybe the Vikings at 23.
The Patriots.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Steelers exchange picks. So the Patriots are off the board. The Steelers are on the board.
That's what Belichick does. They already have 11 picks. Now they probably have 15 this draft or something.
No joke, dude. And, they have taken quarterbacks 2 years in a row. This would be the third if they went with Levis or something. They took Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones.
They
see what New England does, but
they only moved 3 spots or 4 spots. That's not bad.
Raj, before we go back, I want to talk to Tom about 18. Christian Gonzales is my highest rated player, the ESPN, the highest rated player. He was super productive in the Pac-12. He was the fastest 40, first or second fastest corner at. Why is Christian Gonzales sliding as we speak?
I think it's what I said. Are you asking me?
Yes.
I think it's what all indications based on his athleticism and, that he should be a super talented press guy, but he actually played really well in zone. He got beat a lot, and I think people think that he made up for that with his sheer speed and athleticism, but maybe the instincts aren't there. That's just my hunch. I like him. I think athletically he's just extremely gifted. He can do it all, but that's just my hunch. That doesn't have quite the instincts that you need. I think the hips are there, but he's obviously falling, and I don't think many people thought he'd still be on the board here.
I bet this pick is Jackson Smith and Jigbo right here.
Yeah, they're showing Broderick Jones on TV, and that's been a foreshadow.
But that could be too.
That's been a lot of teams have said that. But
this is a JSN spot. Or
I could see Jackson Smith and Jigbo here too.
Tom, how good a story would it be if this is Joey Porter Jr.?
Well, they do like drafting corners in secondary in Pittsburgh. It would be a storybook ending for him. His dad was a legend there. Is that high? Is that high for him? But then again, Jahmyr Gibbs went 12. People didn't think he was going to go in the first round.
And they signed Patrick Peterson, but he's old.
The Patriots get a 4th round pick. I think it's a great. In my mocks, I had Joey Porter here. It's a great need for the Steelers, but I don't know why they move up. If that's
they did lose Sutton. They lost Sutton, so this could be.
Yeah, like I said, right now it's Patrick Peterson on one side and Akello Witherspoon on the other at starting corner.
Yeah, Penn State guy. It makes sense. He's a Pittsburgh kid.
Absolutely, but then again, the offensive line, young quarterback. You want to protect your investment, face of the franchise. So Broderick Jones would make a lot of sense here.
Pick is just along the line. Everybody watching this, we're going to go to pick 18 with the lines before if Tom can hang on, we'll go to 18 with the lines. 4 more picks. Can you make that, Raj and Brendan?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I had Darnell Wright here in a lot of where I thought he would fall. I thought that's where he'd go. So I think it'll be Broderick Jones, but Pittsburgh rarely does something that doesn't make a lot of sense. So we shall see.
It's Broderick Jones.
Broderick Jones. You're right.
Nice.
You called it, Tom. Give me your gut reaction to Broderick Jones.
Well, that was Raj that called it.
Oh, Raj. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know what? These
he never gets the credit.
Glasses on. All right, Raj, you called it.
It's a smart pick.
Yeah. I mean, again, young quarterback, not a great line as it is. Freakish athlete. You may as well protect him.
All right, guys, it's a good pick, but I want to go ahead to the Jets, and I want to get your go around. I know y'all talked about this on Rec Spec the other night. Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. Brendan, let's start with you. Haven't had you up in a while. Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, first pick here. You get him a weapon? Do you get him protected?
I think this is why the Steelers traded up, because I had Broderick Jones projected to go to the Jets. I think that's why the Steelers made the move. I think the Jets do need a little shoring up of the interior line, and they're running out of picks here. I mean, who else is left O-line that would be worth taking right now?
There's nobody in the top 25 right now.
Yeah,
no offensive lineman.
What about tight end here?
It's a tight end. He loves throwing to tight ends.
Tight ends, dude.
I could see a tight end here. I mean, again, I know they've got a ton of already firepower on the wide receiver side, so I don't think Jackson Smith and Jalen makes any sense to them. I always had them picked for offensive line somehow, but I think that moved out. So I don't know. Do they need help at cornerback? Could you see a Gonzales here?
Not after getting Sauce Gardner.
Their secondary is solid.
I think
that's what I'm saying. They don't have a whole lot of holes on the team.
could they trade down? Could they get a guy like Drew Sanders, linebacker out of Arkansas, but you can get him later. But, Michael Mayer seems like a very Aaron Rodgers type of pick. The question is rookie tight ends. Like, do they don't seem to make a huge impact their first year.
I think Mayer would.
You think? I want to ask everybody, Mayer or Kincaid, Tom?
I think Mayer. I think he's the most pro ready. And his ability to block, and he's like I talked about it Tuesday. He's Rob Gronkowski 2.0, and I think he's got a lot of upside.
Yeah,
Brandon, you agreed?
Yeah, I agree. You need a two-way guy that you can plug in immediately, and that would definitely help. So
you also need a guy that can handle the New York media, and playing in Notre Dame, I think helps.
Yeah.
So he's got the
smart, well-rounded dude.
Support, yeah.
What about a guy like Osiris Torrance, the Florida guard?
He's a strict guard. He is
strict guard, but
pure draft though, without a doubt.
You can get him late, real late.
I would think so too.
Anton Harrison, the tackle out of Oklahoma, but people are really high on them, and they need interior offensive line for the Jets as well.
I think the fact the Jets are still on the clock, going deep into this clock. Tom,
are they working a trade?
Yeah, I think they're working
a trade.
They could be.
I would be. Yeah, I think
tight end is so deep that they can grab a tight end later. I just don't wasting this pick when you could maybe pick up another one.
There's also let's talk about all the trade. Not a ton, but they just traded for Aaron Rodgers, which was they switched to first. Have a potential first next year, guaranteed a second, and gave up a fourth in this draft. It would make sense if you want to get some of that capital back.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And the teams that have traded have taken that clock down. So
and remember, wants Will Levis. Here's a spot you can come get Will Levis for probably a third-round pick.
So
Seattle maybe.
I'd be really happy with Nolan Smith. But remember the Jets also, Mekhi Becton, their 2020 first-round pick, left tackle, tore his knee up early last year. Who knows what he's going to look like. That obviously affected them. Their quarterbacks were running for their life last year. They got Vera Tucker from USC, and he got hurt. But, the depth wasn't there. So I'd trade down and get a guy that you can get later, like we discussed, Anton Harrison from Oklahoma, Osiris Torrance, DeJuan Jones from Ohio State. But
let me tell this as a trade partner. The Los Angeles Chargers are sitting at 21, desperately need wide receiver help. Mm-hmm. Could they be coming up for JSN right here? Somebody that if you need quarterback or wide receiver help.
How scary would that be?
Minnesota could trade up too.
Wow.
Trying to get Levis.
Minnesota's
going to go after Hooker.
I think Hooker and Levis come off to one of those two teams.
And JSN is a heck of a receiver, but what's the huge difference when you're looking at a guy like that versus Keenan Allen, who's a little bit older, a guy that can play in the slot and whatnot. But JSN is fast, but he's not top-end fast like Jordan Addison is.
Crazy draft, though.
Yeah. But they could use somebody to stretch the field. Mike Williams can kind of be that guy. He's a big receiver, but he's always hurt.
He's hurt all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So if they go receiver, I wouldn't be as shocked if they didn't go with Jordan Addison as well. But
they're on the phone.
Yeah,
so
JS is a big dude, and I agree. And
if you are the Bucks, and you have a top 10 everybody's patting each other's back. So I don't know if that means the trade come in or what's going on. They're slapping,
dabbing it up. They made a pick.
Do you ever see a draft room where they're like taking shots of vodka and passing out, like because they're so bummed out? They always think they hit a home run, right? And if somebody doesn't act like they did, they'll probably get fired.
After this, Detroit's within 3 picks, and they are defensive players that can still help them out there. Nolan Smith being one of them.
I think it's
Collegia.
From Pitt. He's a freak, dude.
Yeah, he's great.
He was on a lot of mocks going at that 18th spot.
Freak athletically.
He was havoc for Tennessee. Tennessee didn't get him blocked up front.
No, he's very highly rated. Was that the pick? Because I'm behind on DirecTV.
No.
I think it'll be. I mean, does Aaron Rodgers? I hate to be ESPN guy, but does Aaron Rodgers have input here?
Oh, I guarantee you that he's got input.
Mm-hmm. And then if you're Aaron Rodgers, then unless there's some guy on the OL that you really, really would, when you have one of the fastest releases ever, wouldn't you want a guy like Mayer?
He loves tight ends. You've said
it.
Yep. He's a Midwest guy.
I know one thing.
Smart guy, like you said, Notre Dame. Rodgers
can handle that pressure.
Yep.
The Commanders at 16 is going to be interesting, guys. There's a lot of ways for the Commanders to go. The Patriots at 17, and then as we've talked about, the last pick will stay on a lot air for the Detroit Lions at 18.
It's interesting with the Commanders not picking up Young's fifth year option. Are they not sold on his health?
No, they are not. That's exactly what they basically said. That's precisely it. The guy's hurt every year.
So you gotta think they're gonna go somewhere in that avenue if there's somebody worth taking at that spot.
The Jets,
I think they let Ryan Kerrigan go, right? Correct. It was a massive need for them, and it never really panned out. So you could absolutely see that happening. Yeah, Montez Sweat is on one end, and then Chase Young. They let Kerrigan go. They did sign Daron Payne, who a lot of people like, another dude from Alabama. Sorry, I think they re-signed him because they drafted him. But, they did not pick up his option.
And, guys, don't fool yourself. The Jets think they're a Super Bowl contender today.
Yeah, they do.
Absolutely. So do I.
They got 1 year. They got 1 year with Rodgers.
They got 2 years.
Well, he's only saying he's going to.
They're only paying him $1.3 million this year, and they deferred all his money to next year.
Well, then he'll play next year.
That's how they structured and were able to fit him under the salary cap. So they're going to renegotiate.
It would be hilarious, though, is if they picked Levis. Like, just hilarious. Rodgers, when they picked Jordan Love, Rodgers had just a tampon in. Forgive the misogyny. Like, he was just flat out nope, don't like it. I would love to see that happen here. Just watch Aaron Rodgers just flip his ponytail.
But I don't think the Jets need a receiver in this position. I think they're already.
I think they do.
Pretty well stocked.
Yeah,
up.
Garrett Wilson's there. I mean, he's great. And then they got
Lazard.
They got OBJ, right? Or no, OBJ go to Cleveland.
They signed Lazard.
Yeah, they signed Lazard.
Will McDonald from Iowa State. That's kind of shocking.
So they went defensive end, huh? Yeah, a lot of people like him.
I don't have a problem with that with the Jets. I mean, just making their defense that much stronger.
He's more of a rush edge. They put him at linebacker, but that's a guy that likes to get after the quarterback.
That kid was great.
Oh yeah,
that kid was awesome.
That's the Joey Porter prototype. An outside linebacker that can put his hand down.
I'll be right back, guys.
His size, 6'3.5", 239. I don't hate this pick. I do think it's a little bit of a reach, Tom.
Yeah, I agree. Again, you don't know what happens in their pro days or their combines that they just in the interviews that they really make connections. So this could be a Nolan Smith pick for Washington.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Raj.
Or Cansey here, because they want to go defense, you would think. Or is this where Will Levis comes off the board?
I was about to ask Brandon that. Hey, Raj, is this Levis in the next few picks? We got Washington, Detroit, New England.
Who's the quarterback in Washington?
Right now, the Washington starter is Sam Howell, backed up by Jacoby Brissett, and then Jake Fromm. So you let Heineke walk for a reason. I think, in theory, Washington at 16 is thinking to themselves, if Will Levis is there, we're ecstatic.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting a bargain at this point.
Is this the Aaron Rodgers pick of 2023 when he sat in the green room till what, pick 18?
Something like that, or 22nd.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
He's another guy, though, another team that needs DB help with Gonzales still there. They really need cornerback help, but yeah, Sam Howell is not gonna. Wasn't he on the Colts? Sam Howell, wasn't he drafted? No, I'm thinking of Ehringer.
We're still Will now. Levis, there's Hendon Hooker, first Hendon Hooker sighting. I think at pick 19, one of those two guys come off. I may stay on until 19 just for that. All right, Tom, we're taking a commercial break. I want to jump ahead. 2 or 3 players at that pick 18 that you think helps Detroit now.
Well, their history says defense, so can't see if he's there. I love Nolan Smith. I think he could be the steal of the draft.
I agree.
And then, Jackson Smith and Jigba, maybe. I mean that him or Quentin Johnston.
Brandon,
losing Williams for 6 games, that's a big blow. That's
a
huge loss.
Brandon, are you Tom will be back on that one. Are you surprised ASN has slid this far?
No. Not really. I mean, just based on the needs of these teams that have been making all these trades, I'm not. Receiver, you can get some good receivers later in the round. So I think people are a little hesitant to waste a higher pick. And, as we've seen, there's been a lot of value shift down the line here. So we've seen a lot of trade ups to do that. And I think that was smart on the Steelers move, or not. Who just traded up? I'm losing my mind.
Pittsburgh or Philly?
Philly ahead of the Jets.
Yeah.
To,
Roderick Jones.
Yeah, to take Roderick Jones, because like I said, in my projections, I had Roderick going to the Jets to help shore up that line for Rodgers. So, but I think it's a good pick by the Jets. Their defense is just getting better, and I'd take them over Buffalo right now.
Real quick, everybody, let's plug a couple of things. Tom, when are y'all on again? Throw that out there so everybody knows where to find you.
We are on, I believe, Thursday.
Yep.
It fluctuates between Wednesday and Thursday based on availability. But yeah, over on Reckless Speculation. Usually 9:15 is what we shoot for.
Eastern. Yeah.
Eastern. That's Indian Raj time.
All right, and Raj, that's Indian Raj. Raj, I was so happy that you were late today. It just felt like
he's smiling. Will Levis has got a smile on his face.
Oh no!
The Commanders.
Sam Howell is their starter, dude. Like, they need DB help. Flip side is, there's Banks, there's Gonzales, there's Porter Jr. out there at DB. So there's some good DBs still left. And if this is by far the best quarterback left, according to many, then you got to take him, right?
Yeah, but Tyler Hemming was the more effective quarterback last year. Is in Atlanta as the backup to Desmond Ridder. So Howell is your guy to go in the future with. And I think if you say Howell is your guy, then you pick Levis. You made Levis and Howell both lame ducks.
Yeah. It sounds like they're in. I'm DirecTV. So
Okay. Forbes, cornerback, Mississippi State.
Oh, boy.
That is definitely a little bit of a reach, a huge reach over Christian Gonzales.
Yeah.
And Joey Porter Jr.
Joey Porter Jr. Yeah.
Deontay Banks from Mississippi State.
That's a shocker there.
Forbes is probably the fifth cornerback down the board right now.
Yeah, he was the eighth rated remaining player.
Huh.
Yeah, he's on PFF after Gonzales. It was Deontay Banks from Maryland, Joey Porter Jr., then Forbes.
I think you see Will Levis coming off the board right here. From what I've heard, Mac Jones has kind of foiled on Patriots coaching.
So again, that would be their third quarterback in 3 straight years. A quarterback each of the last 3 years.
I don't know, man.
What's the difference between Levis and
Let's catch you up since
mobility?
Last couple of picks. Anything jump out to you?
Yeah, but Forbes, not a ton. I think there's going to be a lot of activity in this bottom half of the draft. Looking at the teams that are there, a lot of teams that feel like they're 1 or 2 players away are going to go for it.
Or is this where Smith comes off the board in Jigba? Because
Yeah.
they need all the help they can get at wide receiver.
Yeah, they just lost to Kobe Myers.
That might be the best pick that they could make, and to get a top tier receiver at 17 after trading down, yeah, you can't go wrong with that one.
That would be sensible.
Anything besides the Jets trade? I mean the Steelers trade. Anything staying with you right now?
It's in.
Surely not Will
Gonzales.
It is.
Yep.
I'm
Bill
way behind.
Does what he does, Brendan. Takes the best player available.
He does, man. Belichick's good at that. And he acquired more draft picks during that, which is just mastermind there.
This is a player that went 10 spots earlier. Nobody would have.
That's like filling the room, like knowing the room, knowing the crowd. That's what Belichick does. He knows how this draft's going, and he knew he could wait for something like this. That's an A+ draft, first round for the Patriots.
He wasn't supposed to be there when the Raiders picked at 7. Atlanta maybe was going to jump up, or somebody was going to jump up and get him.
Oh man!
So to get him here,
I have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, if you look at it, if you can get Will Levis at 18, or do you go and get Hendon Hooker here?
Could you? I mean, I know you got Ahmad Brown, but
what's that?
Who's your other wide receiver besides Ahmad Brown?
They just brought back Marvin Jones Jr. They got that Reynolds guy.
Could it potentially be a Jackson Smith and Jigba here?
It very well could be. I mean,
Kincaid, man, I could see Kincaid going here.
They need a tight end. Yeah. They don't really have a top tight end here. But at this point,
this draft is crazy, dude.
This draft has been insane.
It's been the craziest, most trades in the first round that I can remember.
They're not going based upon overall grade. I mean, obviously with what Washington just went and did. So they're looking more at interactions, I think, in interviews and things of that nature with some of these guys. But, man.
Who is the starting tight end right now? I think it's Brock Wright.
Brock
maybe?
Wright, yeah.
Yeah, you've got playmakers everywhere else. The question is, do most Detroit fans think they can win with Jared Goff? I mean, if
probably
Brad
60-40
win a Super Bowl, what's that?
It's probably 60-40,
and
maybe a little higher.
And do you have the patience for Will Levis to come in, and for every Justin Herbert, there's 10 Jamarcus Russells, right?
Yeah.
Like guys that are not ready to win right now. You've got a good offensive line, obviously, one of the best.
I'm telling you, if you put on the film in Knoxville in a hostile environment, he throws for 98 yards and 3 touchdowns against guys. Bryce Young threw for 400 yards. Anthony Richardson threw for 400 yards. What's a little short guy? South Carolina transferred from Oklahoma. He threw for 400 yards against Tennessee.
Rattler.
Tennessee's defense was not good.
Another thing you think about with Jahmyr Gibbs is a new rookie quarterback's best friend. He's a guy that can do everything, catch the ball anywhere, be a safety net all over. St. Brown, another guy that can line up all over the field.
Mm-hmm.
Great offensive line. I mean, a rookie quarterback is starting to make more sense to me than I had hoped it would.
I think if you want to go with Nolan Smith, there's some justification. You start building levels of defense because now you have Aiden Hutchinson on the line. Now across from him on the other side,
James Houston, rookie last year, 8th round pick. And then you got Rodriguez at linebacker. I would love to see Nolan Smith in this pick. I would love it.
Is outstanding. He's Will Anderson, except not quite the strength, not quite the hands, but everything else is the same. Speed, just a sensational player. I would have much rather had him than Tyree Wilson. But he's undersized, they say, 238, 240.
After Detroit picks, I want everybody to have some final words about the draft and stuff that's and we'll be on for the Bucks pick, but I really want to wrap this up with like almost a final word segment that we do on regular shows because I think this draft has been insane.
I don't think it's
I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a trade here. Oh, it's a picks in. Never mind. Picks in. I was thinking maybe Brad Holmes was going to be swinging some deals, but
could it be Joey Porter Jr. or Deontay Banks or Mayer? Could it be one of those DBs?
At 19, the Bucks take either Will Levis or Hendon Hooker. We'll be on the air when that happens. So,
this is Kalijah Cansey here. That's my pick.
That would be smart.
I want Nolan.
You get a guy like that next to Aiden, and that's very smart.
Alex Leatherwood, my back and neck is giving out, guys, so I'm going to do the rest of it laying back on the couch.
Son of a bitch, that guy. That guy had committed like the most holding penalties in Division I, and they drafted him at 17.
And if you're looking for a quarterback, you have 2 big timers coming out next year, and Caleb Williams and Drake May. So
somebody Penix, Bo Nix, Michael Penix at Washington, a lot of guys like.
I will next year during the draft, I'll refuse to say the name Bo Nix.
Yeah, I'm not a Bo Nix fan at all.
I'm not either, but
that's like equivalent to Will Levis to me.
Yeah, Bo Nix started at the high school I was covering at the time, so Bo's a great kid. It's just. Yeah,
I'm sure he is. Nothing against him personally. It's just
Pac-12 defenses, bro. They'll make you look much better than what you are.
Yeah, ask Marcus Mariota.
Yeah,
exactly.
ESPN showing Kincaid as the best fit for Detroit.
I don't hate Kincaid.
He's a good player. I mean,
I like Nolan Smith here too, though, dude.
Yeah,
I like 4 of any. Right now they have Will Levis, Nolan Smith, Zay Flowers, Jackson Smith, and Dalton Kincaid. I like 4 of the 5 for Detroit here.
But, Kincaid was a backup to Brent Queethe. I can't pronounce his name, Quithe. He just kept getting hurt. And Kincaid was heck of a player. He killed USC, but who didn't? I just think Mayer is a better overall player.
Our buddy Chris Adams calls
I agree.
Kamara.
We talked about that Tuesday.
Yeah.
And he's going to help out Jared Goff big time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks for watching, Chris. By the way, we still need to get you booked for the boys' trip. Y'all, we're going gambling at Raj, Chang. You need to get booked.
I just saw white girls dancing to hip hop next to Will Levis, so I'm good now. You may as well surround yourself with hot girls, even though it's probably like his sister and his mom. But I'm good with him.
Awkward moment of the draft, right there.
Yeah, dude, I'm all about it. The Lions are tough.
Tom, you've stalled the draft out here.
Yeah, there's Barry.
Go.
What we got?
I do like the dude in the lion. The lion
mane.
Headdress mane. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Hey, everyone. Look, we're in Kansas City.
Here we go.
Concert.
We're in Delaware.
Jack Campbell.
Hi, I'm in Delaware.
Who is it?
Chris
Jack
Adams
Campbell?
was right. Jack Campbell.
No, I wanted Campbell in the second round for the Raiders.
I like Campbell.
Just about 2 minutes ago. I wasn't going to post it, but he picked it. Jack Campbell. I much rather Nolan Smith. Jack Campbell is more of a pure, I think, inside linebacker. Buckus Award winner, academic Heisman Award winner. Definitely a high intelligent guy.
What about, you got Malcolm Rodriguez, and that's your third white linebacker. That's pretty tough to do.
And Alex Anzalone, he resigned.
Exactly. That's their third. I wanted Campbell for the Raiders. They needed a sure tackler in the middle, but is this the biggest position of need for you? I think a lot of people saw him in the second round. I love him. I think he's a guy that's going to lead the NFL in tackles at some point in his career.
And the Lions have never had that and linebacker. And for as long as I can remember, there's always been a hole up the middle. They've never had, outside of Chris Spielman, they've never really had that linebacker that could change the game.
The Bucks are already in. So the Bucks were waiting there. So this may be Will Levis.
I think so.
All right, Tom, you've got a second. Jack Campbell.
Well, I guess selfishly, I would have rather had Nolan Smith. But looking at it, he was the highest graded linebacker in the FBS. He seems like he's a Dan Campbell type of guy. So, and they've been known to, obviously they showed with the 12th pick, they didn't take the sexy pick at that point. They went to the person that they probably thought could do the job and do the job right now. So again, like I've said all along, I trust Brad Holmes. I believe in this new regime, and if that's who they go with, I trust it. And hearing how Raj talks about him, I think and JP just texted me, said they got their linebackers. So
I just wonder if they could have traded down for him, but it's just one of those guys that he's going to be a good football player for, again, 5 to 7 years. That's like a fact.
I agree. It fits the need.
It fits a lot of teams' needs.
And again, this comes back to what they did in free agency. It allowed them to, maybe take a little risk at 18 with this pick.
Which they did a lot of smart things in free agency. They've been very un-Detroit-like the last 4 years. It's crazy.
Brand new Lions.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. And you guys talked about Tampa coming up next. They did get Trask in the second round. When you're drafting a quarterback in the second round last year, you're going to give them a shot, right? And they signed Baker Mayfield, who is currently slated to be the starter. So do you want Levis here?
Our boy who nailed the Campbell pick, says no Levis for Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, they could use Anton Harrison, a type of an offensive lineman here, or do they get a wide receiver with Evans or Godwin maybe leaving? JSN or Quentin Johnson. They like big receivers.
All right. After this pick, we're going to start with Brandon. I want to go around the horn. Brandon, then Tom, and then Raj to interrupt final thoughts of the draft. And of course, 12 picks going on. If we have a pick while we're doing this, we'll bring it up. Here's the Pitt defensive tackle. That's a great pick in my mind. That division.
I wanted him.
That division wants to run the football. That's a nice pick. You've got Alvin Kamara. Now you've got Bijan Robinson in that division. That's a good
wide
pick.
open. That division is, if there's a division in football that is winnable, anybody could win. It's the NFC South.
Absolutely.
Vita Vea is already one inside tackle, 6.5 sacks last year, a 350-pounder. You pair him with this dude who's not as strong as Aaron Donald, but he is really fast and really quick off the ball.
And then you got Seattle, so you got thinking maybe they're drafting down the road. Oh, go ahead.
This was a guy I really wanted. I'd seen second-round comparisons like him and Jack Campbell, and they just went back-to-back. Damn it.
Brandon, outside of your team, who do you think won the draft?
Texans.
Oh, no question.
How do you feel about you?
I think it was solid. I'm happy.
Sucks, dude. What if, he did not do well in the Wonderlic, whatever that means.
No, the Wonderlic was fine. It was the S2C test or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a variation of it, I thought. But anyways, what if he bombs? I don't think he will, but
yeah, I mean, I don't think he will. But again, you don't have that worry now, and we didn't do anything stupid and trade up and grab Richardson or Levis. Thank God. We filled a position of need. I think we got a solid plug and play immediately guy, which we need. So I'm super happy about that. And a lot of draft left. We only have 5 more picks as of now. So we'll see what we do in the second round. If Hooker's there, I think we grab him. If not, maybe a DB or wide receivers are sliding. So maybe there's some value in that as well. We need a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of scary stats I read about Hendon Hooker. I'm a believer in him, but there's a lot of people that aren't. I'm just saying.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I think at worst, he's a game manager type guy that you can plug in with the right pieces around him. He's not going to lose you the game. You can ride his shoulders to, and rely on a solid defense. So I think he'll do well in the NFL, but I mean, I don't think he's going to be in that upper tier echelon type quarterback.
Agreed.
I'm going to give y'all a stat. If you look around the NFL, the next Pro Bowl quarterback is as likely not drafted as he is drafted right now.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
There's plenty of talent. Tom, your team plus anybody else that won the draft.
I think Detroit picked guys that they could plug right in, that filled spots. Maybe not the sexiest pick, but very Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes-ish type of pick. So I mean, I'm happy with it. I think Gibbs is going to be a stud, like Chris Adams said, Kamara 2.0. That's exactly what I think he's going to happen. He's going to turn into if he can stay healthy. And I agree. Looking at either Houston or the Eagles getting Jalen Carter, moving up to get Jalen Carter. I mean, this is a Super Bowl team from last year with already a pretty solid defense. So you got to like what they did. But on paper, probably Houston. I think Will Anderson's going to be a Pro Bowler in year 1. So you like what they did.
I think we're all going to be right there with that sentiment. All right, Raj, your team and anybody that won. And I'm going to throw out, I think the Steelers getting in front of the Jets, too, is almost as good. It's not as good, but that move may be the second move of the draft behind the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yeah.
Rod.
I'm not as horrified with the pick of Tyree Wilson. Again, I didn't see the explosion. I didn't see the things you want to see. He kind of reminds me of Arden Key. He's bigger and longer. The Raiders drafted him in the 4th round. He did nothing there. He went to San Francisco and did pretty well, but who doesn't in that team surrounded by those guys? I think now he's in Tennessee, but I got to go with Philly and Jalen Carter. It's just certain organizations, the rich get richer because they're smart organizations. And, Pitt with Broderick Jones in New England, getting Christian Gonzales at 17. Like, these are 3 traditionally great organizations over the last 10, 15, 20 years, and the rich get richer.
First of all, Tom, Rod, one of y'all throw out again. Your show is Thursday at 9:15. Reckless Speculation, Facebook, YouTube, anywhere else.
Twitter.
All right.
Yep, Twitter.
All podcast platforms.
A lot of talk. Y'all cover every sport: golf, basketball,
NASCAR.
Well, Robbie Davis going to get some NASCAR.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to say, first of all, I'm surprised I've talked 2 hours and my voice is held. My back has finally just went out a little while ago. I love the Bijan Robinson pick just because I'm going with what Coach Miller has been successful as an OC with. Ron Tannehill, Derrick Henry. If you're not going to have that great quarterback, you need the explosion at tailback. Ritter has every weapon. A great tight end, potentially. Drake London, who everybody saw how I felt about him. Tyler Algier is very productive, 1,000-yard rusher. Now you add a home run hitter in Bijan Robinson. As a Falcons fan, I know all the defense. Everybody wanted defense. If you're going to get beat, you might as well get beat excited. So I was happy with the pick. Anybody else got any final words, anything before we get off here? Seattle's going to pick. Anybody got a guess?
I'm waiting for the receiver run, dude. We got JSN, Addison, Quentin Johnson. A lot of people love Mingo. Zay Flowers, Tank Dell from Houston. 2 of the smaller guys.
I think Levis goes here, or he goes to Minnesota, or he doesn't go in the first round at all.
Yeah.
It's the story of the draft is him not going in the first round.
Might be what we all said about Levis from the get-go.
Porter, Deontay Banks are still there. I mean, there are a ton of day 1 starters still on the board here.
Second round's going to be first-round talent for most of the round.
Absolutely. Osiris Torrance, a lot of first-round guys. Maisie Smith, Darnell Washington, a guy who I would just love to have because I've never seen anybody that freakishly whatever he is. The 2 Clemson defensive linemen, Cam Smith. A lot of people love Steve Avila, guard and center from TCU. Just lots of guys, 50, 60, 70 guys that can start day 1. This is going to be a crazy draft, and that's going to mean a lot of trades because there's going to be, different teams have different needs, and with this many starters, I think it's about to get real nutty.
Yep.
And I'm a guy that'll be here for the next few days. For the folks who watched the first round and then cut it off, I'll remind you, Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick in the 7th or 8th quarterback off the board. There's great players still out there.
James Houston last year in Detroit, 8th-round pick out of Jackson State.
How about Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, and Talanoa Hufanga from USC, who was a first-team All-Pro safety. He was a 5th-rounder.
Yeah, James Houston,
4th
9 sacks in 8 games played. Like I said, 8th-round pick. I think the meat and potatoes is 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds. That's when you get the real scouting comes into play.
Right.
And you get the guys that really make a difference.
The good organization in the late draft.
Shane, I was supposed to announce that, like, my wife's family friend's niece announced the Titans pick because she won some contest as a season ticket holder. But
Oh yeah,
nobody else cares. I was supposed to announce that, but I
that's
forgot.
awesome.
All
Yes.
right, buddy.
Christy Sweat.
We'll close the night without Seattle's pick. I want to thank Robbie. I know he had to jump off of here. I want to thank Tom for joining us, Brendan for joining us, Rod for being late as usual. It felt like
Sorry, I couldn't provide the misery. I don't feel great inside if that makes everyone else feel better.
we have done this 4 years now, and this
Listen,
is
Jigba.
nobody mailed it down.
Oh.
There's Ross.
JSN?
Here he comes.
Ooh, opposite Metcalf and Lockett. Oh.
Yeah, Metcalf and Lockett for Geno Smith.
Ooh,
Now
That tells you they trust Geno.
yeah,
And Kenneth Walker.
dude, that offense just
Yeah,
really got better.
they that's a nice steady pick there.
Yeah,
Another bigger receiver, but not like Metcalf, but a guy that just gets open.
yeah, he can play the slot though, man, and he can.
Yeah, he does, absolutely plays the slot. I mean, that's what Ohio State guys do. They'll move you all over.
I think that numbered Tyler Lockett's days in Seattle, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So
Well, Tyler Lockett's still got the
speed on the
he can-
outside.
he can take the top off of the defense a little bit.
He's
That
got
makes a guy
one of
like
the best
Addison
hands in
or Jay
football.
Flowers.
He does. So does this guy coming.
Yeah.
Smith
No,
and
that's a
Jigba,
great
dude,
pick.
does not drop passes. That dude does not drop passes.
No, I know that they needed some offensive line action too, but this is a really steady pick. I mean, anybody who watched that Rose Bowl was just like, oh my, he was a man amongst boys.
It's a huge value pick too. I mean, with all the moves that went on, like a guy that was projected to go in the top 7-8
Well,
picks.
all right,
Yeah.
guys, we're going to get out of here.
Yeah.
I could stay
Expect
on.
a defender here. I hate the Chargers. They may go Nolan Smith or one of the Clemson guys. Knowing my life, they'll take Nolan Smith from me. But yes, thank you for everything, Randall.
Thanks
See
for
you,
having
man.
us,
Good seeing
man.
everybody. Good seeing you, Randall.
Good seeing y'all. This is the 4th year we've done this, and it may have been the most fun. We'll see you next year. This is an annual event. We'll see you next year, and thanks for the Reckless Speculations guys joining us. 2 years ago, we went 4 hours, so this year just going a little over 2. We're cutting it in half. So good night. Everybody stay watching it, and I'm going to be up waiting on Hayden Hooker to go at pick 23, and I'll talk to y'all later.
See you, buddy.
See y'all.
Our
See
pick
ya.
from 2 years ago.